Typically, we are harder on others than ourselves when it comes to bad habits. They can be annoyances like someone who starts cracking their knuckles right next to you, or a friend of yours who you love very much but who constantly drops the word like into like every other sentence. Hey, but you've got one too. Everyone has at least one bad habit that they can't shake. Or can they? Welcome to Wellcast. This week, we took another viewer suggestion from Frantic Cow, who wrote in asking for a video on breaking bad habits. So today, you guessed it, we're going to examine why it's so darn difficult to give up chowing down on junk food or chowing down on your fingernails. We've also got a 4-step method for overcoming your biggest vice. Are you ready? First and foremost, how do bad habits even form? Studies by the National Institute of Health point to 2 main reasons. The first reason is repetition. If you do something often enough, say you twirl your pencil during class, your brain decides it can stop wasting precious neurons thinking about it. So it checks out and goes on vacation. You could be twirling your pencil through AP English, social studies, algebra, and trig without even thinking about it. The other way bad habits are formed is through positive reinforcement, which sounds like a really good thing, but it can be dangerous. Let's talk about that energy drink that you insist on sucking back when you're up late studying. Gives you a nice boost of energy, and it helps you get through to the end of that mind-numbingly boring paper you're writing on Chaucer. But the reason why this kind of habit is hard to break is that a nice surge of energy at 11 p.m. is an enjoyable feeling. And enjoyable feelings usually result in your brain releasing dopamine. This is partly why people often crave things that aren't even enjoyable for them anymore. The brain is jonesing for dopamine. But don't worry, my habitual compadres. Human beings are pretty amazing at changing and adapting. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to obliterate that bad habit in 4 easy steps. Pause and print this sheet at watchwellcast.com. Step 1. Let's start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start. Write down the bad habit you're trying to quit. Start simple. Choose just one. Step 2. Learn to avoid your triggers. Take some time to think about the things that really make you crave doing your bad habit. If biting your nails is your vice, your triggers might be, that last-minute quiz. Oh no, I gotta pay my electric bill, or how much money do I have in my account for rent? List these triggers in section 2 of your worksheet. Next to these triggers, write a list of ways you can avoid them. For example, read your syllabus every week, or make sure that you plan for automatic deductions for your electric bill. Step 3, substitute your bad habits for not so bad habits. Basically, you want to teach your brain by repetition to learn a new habit. So, if you tend to bite your nails when you're stressed and alone in your living room, stock your refrigerator with carrots and celery so that you can reach for something else to chew on when you're stressed out. Write a substitution next to every trigger on section 3 of your worksheet. Step 4. Gather your army. You do not have to do this alone. Enlist your friends to help you defeat this bad habit. Start by telling them that you're planning on eliminating this bad habit, and you need their help. Just the simple act of letting them in on this battle that you're waging is a step in the right direction. Remember, your friends can be bodyguards. They'll stand between you and your brain. Tell them to police you. If they see you reaching for those nails to bite, give them the permission to remind you of your mission. Or even slap your hand. Whatever you want. All right, guys, let's recap. Today, you learned 4 steps for beating your bad habit. You decided which habit you wanted to kick. You figured out your triggers for this bad habit, and you decided on ways to avoid and replace these triggers with healthier alternatives. If all else fails, you learn to enlist your friends in the fight.
Tweet us at WatchWellcast, email us at watchwellcast@gmail.com, or leave a comment down below. We'll see you next time.
Hello there, my name is not Bill Press. My name is Peter Ogburn. I will be hosting the show today until Bill gets back. But don't worry, Bill is broadcasting live from Asheville, North Carolina, where he is in town there for their Moral Mondays rally later on today. So he's going to be checking in with us. Don't worry, he's on site. We're going to get some updates from Bill while he is on the ground there in the South. He's not the only one out of town. Congress has bolted from Washington, D.C. yet again, a last-minute, last-ditch effort to get something done before they hightailed it out of here for their extended summer break. Not a lot of stuff got done. We're going to cover that right off the bat in the show today. Also, the president on Friday afternoon had a bit of a press conference trying to smooth out some wrinkles that Congress helped create and that, frankly, he helped create and his administration helped to create. What's the latest on the CIA spying situation? What's the latest on immigration? We're going to talk about all of those things. Speaking of the CIA and John Brennan, the president, again, sounding off support for John Brennan, even though he admitted and apologized for wiretapping and snooping on the Senate. Those are the people that are supposed to keep you in check, and you were spying on them? That's not so good. That's not so good. We're going to talk about all of that. Not only, by the way, were we wiretapping the Senate, was the CIA wiretapping the Senate, Israel was wiretapping John Kerry when he was in town. Now, it's tough for us to say, hey, shame on Israel, because, you know, we sort of perfected the whole wiretapping, snooping thing. We got all of that coming up on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in here on the Bill Press Show. Thanks so much.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Sometimes when I'm walking down the street, I'm not necessarily looking out and seeing all these water-wasting lawns and people that aren't as connected to their neighbors and their lives as they could be. I'm walking down the street looking, going, edible oases, rainwater, fed landscape, and just looking at the possibility of these sort of landscapes up and down the streets of neighborhoods and communities all across this world. Small actions do ripple and they add up and they have a cumulative impact. And so when you're building upon your small mindful actions, you have the confidence and the ability to take on something a little bit greater. So that would be nice. This, in the context of where we're at as a planet with climate change and these really big issues and people that are more disconnected and less skilled than ever, it becomes even more amazing and powerful how much of a solution this is to design these ecological gardens and to come together with shared vision and shared voice. There's never been a time where your choices have mattered more. Doing something as simple as us transforming a landscape creates a model that anybody could look at far and wide, and you're sharing food and connecting and building skills together in your own neighborhood. It's a richer way to live in normal times, but in the new normal of climate change and erratic weather and economic upheaval, it becomes essential. Whether it's me, you, Gandhi, Che, MLK, Willy Wonka, whoever, past, present, or future, the power of our daily actions is all that we have. And like our community said, give me a place to stand and a lever long enough and I'll move the world. And that's what those simple actions do. They move the world every day.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Yes, indeed, it is the Bill Press Show. Hello there. Happy August 4th, Monday, 2014. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill Press today. Here's the deal. Don't freak out. Everybody freaks out. They say, oh, Bill's not here, so it's just click. I can hear them.
No, they love you, Peter.
I can hear them, and it hurts. Bill's going to be on the show today, though. He's down in Asheville, North Carolina, with our good affiliate, 880 The Revolution. He's doing the Moral Monday broadcast from down there. There's a rally later on this afternoon. We got more deets coming up, so stay tuned for that. But he's going to be doing the afternoon drive show there in Asheville, and he's going to be joining us a couple of times throughout today's show. You know what? I'm not even going to tell you when he's on, so you have to watch the whole damn thing.
Live from Asheville.
Yeah, right?
It's exciting.
So he's going to be with us later, so stay tuned so you can hear that. Because, if he can go away and he can actually call into the show, he will. He doesn't trust me to do the whole thing. Do you blame him? I don't blame him. He's going to call and just check up on things. I think that's what this is really all about, just to make sure that there's not just like a flaming tire fire left in his place when he leaves. But we're doing the best we can, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, my name is Peter Ogburn, filling in for Bill. Running the board today is Elisa Murphy. Elisa, hello there.
Good morning. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. How was your weekend?
It was good.
Yeah?
Good, yeah.
Anything remarkable or not?
Spent another weekend in good old Pennsylvania.
What are you doing in Pennsylvania?
I have my in-laws there.
Ooh.
So.
Do you have a good thing
No, it's
going
nice.
with the Outlaws?
It's nice. And
Yeah?
it's great. Pennsylvania has all these little like 1950s ice cream shops on every corner.
Yeah.
You can kind of go sit out and like eat your dipped cone.
Come on.
Yeah, reminisce.
adorable.
Yeah, it's really fun.
If you call 866-55-PRESS, you will talk to Alicia Cruz, who is screening your phone calls this morning. Good morning, Alicia. 866-557-7377 is our telephone number. And, of course, if you're watching the show on Free Speech TV or TawkrTV, you are doing so because of the great, great work of Cyprian Bolding, the one and only. Cyprian and I, by the way, we didn't go together, but we both saw Guardians of the Galaxy over the weekend.
Oh, did you? I didn't see that.
Which is like, it's the biggest August opening of all time. They pulled in $94 million this weekend.
Wow.
Which is gigundous. Real talk. I saw it twice over the weekend.
No way.
I actually did.
Is that because of your children?
Shut up. Here's the deal.
Or is it you?
Here's the deal. So the kids and I were crazy amped to go see it. Because I admit, I'm a total comic book nerd, right?
See, I don't know anything about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay, I don't either. I didn't read this comic when I was growing up. Because it came out, like it's a little after my time, right? So they made this movie, and it's totally unique and wonderful, and it's by Marvel, they just make these blockbuster movies. So I really wanted to go see it, and we saw it. It's so good. It's so good.
You went twice.
Well, so we saw it on we saw it on Friday, the kids and I, and kids just get into this thing, right, where they have to reenact every scene from like their favorite thing, right? So it's like that's all weekend.
And there were too many scenes, I guess, in this one.
There were so many. So on Sunday, the weather was kind of cruddy. Yesterday, it was not great. Mm-hmm. And so we weren't going to be able to go to the pool. And we all had sort of cabin fever. And they said, can we go see the movie? I said, sure, what do I care?
Are you sure you weren't the ringleader on this
I
one?
didn't stop him. I didn't stop him. It's a good movie. I totally wanted to go see it again. And I'm glad I did. I don't think I'm going to go see it thrice.
Oh, hopefully not.
It's been a minute since I've gone to a movie 2 times in the theater. I can't remember the last time. Can you remember the last time you saw a movie 2 times in the theater?
I really think it was maybe like back in the day when Seven. I think I saw Seven twice.
All right.
Because it was a nice rainy, scary day to go see that movie again.
You know what? The last movie I think I saw twice. And by the way, give us a call on this. Seriously,
it'd be interesting
I'm fascinated
to know.
by this. 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. The last movie you saw 2 times in the movie theater. It might have been like Back to the Future 2.
Oh, okay. Long time
Which
ago.
was like 25 years ago or something?
Yeah. Back when movies were like $6 when you could afford to go.
Yeah, exactly. Back when my parents were taking me to the movies. I think it was Back to the Future 2.
Okay.
I think that was the last one I saw twice.
Now Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. And it's not like a 3-hour thing, Like I maybe would have gone to see the Lord of the Rings stuff more than once, but it's 3 hours.
It's so long.
Give me a break. I was sitting in the movie theater for 6 hours.
Yeah, it's a huge saga.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to do that. I also, just to get this out of the way, because I've been thinking about it, I had to go to a friend's 40th birthday party.
Oh, yeah?
Which is like a real State of the Union of where you are in your own life.
It's kind of a downer, too,
it's
when you hit that 4.
Because, I'm not there yet.
I know how you feel.
I'm not there yet. I'm not that far off. But, I'm far enough off to where, it's in the future, but it's not in the not so distant. It's not in the distant future anymore. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. I'll put it this way. I'm turning, I know a lady never discusses her age. But I'm turning 35 later on this year. And I remember when I turned 30 like it was yesterday. And that was 5 years ago. So in 5 more years, I'm going to be 40, and then that's it.
I know. Time is flying.
Right?
I know exactly how you feel.
It is such an old man conversation to have. It is such an old man conversation to have, and it drives me crazy. But
But now 40 is the new 30.
No, it's not.
Kind of.
No,
you can tell yourself that anyways.
No, it's not. Not in my book. 40 is still 40. 40 is still, you got to have your act together. By
it's
40.
true.
I don't really have my act together. It's kind of a mess. It's kind of a mess. All right. So anyway, seriously, give us a call, 866-55-PRESS, if you have a comment on the last movie you saw in the theater twice. If you don't have a comment on that, that's okay too. We do serious stuff on the show, even when Bill is away. So it was sort of a whirlwind of news on Friday. It was sort of a weird combination of Congress getting their stuff together so they could hightail it out of here for their extended break. The president held a quick presser on Friday afternoon to talk about all kinds of things, and it was really awkward, and I think it really showed sort of a divide among the press corps, because no one was really sort of coming at the president about a range of issues until the very, very end. We finally got to an issue that we've been talking about, and that is the CIA. So here's the story with the CIA in case you missed it. The CIA earlier this year was accused of spying on the Senate Intelligence Committee. That's the group that holds oversight over the CIA, right? So if the CIA is conducting all these plans, all these deals, all these missions, right? The Senate oversees that. They make sure for the American people that they're doing the right thing and the just thing and the legal thing and the moral thing, and keeps them in check. Keeps them in check. So it turns out the CIA was spying on the people that keep them in check, which is bad. It's just not good.
That's a little bit of an understatement, maybe.
It's really bad. It's really bad. That's the equivalent of you going in and snooping on your boss's email. Like, imagine if your boss caught you snooping on his email. How do you think that would go over?
You would not have a job.
Yeah. Yeah, if your boss, if he or she found out that you were snooping in their email, you'd be fired immediately. I think I could say that. So it turns out that the CIA was doing this to essentially their bosses, the Senate. And you remember Hey, I'm going to change up the order of these, Elisa. So I want to play that first Brennan clip. This is from March, right? When the accusations came out that the CIA was spying on the Senate. Here is John Brennan, head of the CIA. Here's how he felt about that.
As far as the allegations of CIA hacking into Senate computers, nothing could be further from the truth.
Nothing.
I mean, we wouldn't do that.
No.
I mean, that's just beyond the scope of reason.
Beyond the scope of reason. How dare you level such an accusation at my way, sir? Find me a fainting couch. Like, the audacity of you to throw such a...
That's the way to dig your own grave when you say something like that.
I mean, it's like he made it crystal clear. We did not spy on the Senate. He follows up with that. That second Brennan clip.
And if I did something wrong, I will go to the president and I will explain to him exactly what I did and what the findings were. And he is the one who can ask me to stay or to go.
So there you go. We did nothing wrong. I promise you. I can't say it loudly enough. ... But if I did something wrong, I'll talk to the president. We'll sort it all out. Well, he apparently spoke to the president. He came out last week. He apologized to the Senate. He admitted that, yes, they were spying. Right? This is months later. So he owned up to it. And he told the president, oh, well, the president's going to come out swinging. He can't stand for this, right? This is not something that he could possibly tolerate, right?
I have full confidence in John Brennan.
Nope.
I think he has acknowledged and directly apologized to Senator Feinstein.
Full confidence in John Brennan.
He apologized.
Oh, well, at least he apologized. At least he apologized. Look, folks, I know that a lot of people that listen to this show are big supporters of the president, right? Like we talk a lot about what the president does and what he's doing and a lot of his legislation, a lot of his actions. This is one thing that I think the president has to be strong on. He's got a bit of a PR issue now with the CIA and with the overreach and with the snooping. And so he sort of has to, in my opinion, he has to sort of set an example and say, okay, John Brennan, you're the head of the CIA. You are not supposed to snoop and spy on your bosses. Not only that, you're not supposed to lie about it very publicly and adamantly after the fact. So, sorry, dude, you got to go. What's the loss there? What happens to the president if he does that? And why won't he do that? 866-55-PRESS is our telephone number, 866-557-7377. I would really, truly like to hear from you on that. The president covered a lot of other issues. The immigration stuff that Congress kind of sort of got something done on. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the show. But the fact that the president came out and said he has full confidence in John Brennan concerns me a little bit, and it should concern you because it seems like he's giving him sort of a blank check here. That he could go out and he could spy and he could carry on and any operation that he would like. But as long as he comes back later and says, I made an oopsie, then he keeps the president's full confidence. 866-55-PRESS. We've got a phone line open for you. My name is Peter Ogburn. Sitting in for Bill Press today. We will be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Tune into Free Speech TV for Democracy Now!, a national, independent, award-winning news program bringing you people and perspectives rarely seen on corporate media.
Grunt work. Love it, hate it, useful, not useful.
Necessary.
Our social entrepreneurs are people who have been on the front lines of social change. I've learned so much from talking with them. This is Cafe Impact, and I'm Jonathan Lewis.
I will say that I think is a challenge for anyone, especially the new workforce as they come in, is the ability to accept grunt work with grace.
The most boring, awful details are the most important elements of doing this work. From the way you save names in your Rolodex to the way you bank and you deposit checks. The truth is, this work isn't glamorous, it's rewarding. You don't go into this for the glamour, you go into it for the impact. And so it takes that determination to do the scut work to actually get anywhere.
It can be really challenging in a first job for someone who's coming out of finishing school to have the enthusiasm that they do to make the type of social impact that they've dreamed of. And now they're here in this first job and all of a sudden they're shouldered with all this grunt work. And they don't understand and they don't get it and they're resentful.
Talk more about the power of answering phones.
Sure, I did that myself, took out the trash, cleaned offices when I had to, and it's all good. There's power in being a good team player and in being somebody who sometimes has to support other people's leadership before you get to have your own moment in the sun.
Is it hard to wait?
It is absolutely hard to wait, especially if you're an alpha female like I am.
I think grunt work can help a new employee build trust internally and teach them the nuances of how an organization is run so that they can have a real good sense of what HR is doing, what finance is doing, what all the other departments are, and that actually makes them a better employee in the long run.
So in my role on a daily basis, I literally can be looking at a new venture in software. We could be looking at a microfinance deal. I could be making coffee, taking out the trash, and riding a tractor on any given day.
Have you found people who thought it was demeaning that they were given this job, work in the front office and make the coffee when they graduated with all A's from this great university?
And, people like that just don't last very long in our world. If your approach to life is that, you're so smart and you're such a fabulous entrepreneur that you can't understand why people aren't giving you opportunities, it's really hard to advance.
Tune in to Gay USA with hosts Ann Northrup and Andy Hum for in-depth coverage of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender news. Watch Gay USA every week, only on Free Speech TV.
At Earth Justice, we defend the environment in the courtroom. Join our fight. When you take a seat, you take a stand. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill today, 23 minutes past the hour. Thank you for your calls at 866-55-PRESS. We're going to get into those in just a second. For those of you calling and asking, what's the deal with Moral Monday? Well, I'm glad you asked. We'll tell you about it in like 35 minutes or so, when we're going to have Bill on the line from Asheville, North Carolina. We'll tell you all about Moral Mondays and why he's there and what's going on. So it's not so easy to just call in and get an answer. You have to participate a little bit. So I mentioned that I saw Guardians of the Galaxy twice over the weekend. And I was trying to think of the last time I saw a movie twice in the theater. I seriously, I can't think of one since Back to the Future 2. We do have some people weighing in on this. Not only at 866-55-PRESS, but also on Twitter at BP Show. At BP Show. You can also find me on Twitter at Peter Ogburn. Jim weighs in, says he saw Blazing Saddles about 7 times in the movie theater.
Oh,
that's a good one.
That's a smart movie to see 7 times.
That's a good one. Gene Starwin says Aliens in 1986.
Oh, he may be Sigourney Weaver.
The Sigourney Weaver thing.
Yeah.
I was a little young for that in the theater.
Yeah, I didn't see that in the theater.
But I've seen it many times. It's an excellent movie. I would totally go see that probably more than once. I mentioned I'm on Twitter at Peter Ogburn. Thank you very much to Liberal Saurus who chimes in this morning. Says, Peter, you are the liberally gentle buzzsaw. I like you.
Oh, that's nice.
You know, right? Aren't you the sweetest? I don't even know what that means. Gentle buzzsaw.
That is poetic, though. That's beautiful for a Monday morning.
I've been called way worse. We're taking calls on the CIA and whether or not the president should stand by John Brennan at 866-55-PRESS. But before we move on to more of that, let's talk to Gina in New Orleans, Louisiana. Gina, how are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. What's the last movie you saw more than once?
Oh, it was 33 times. It was Elizabeth.
Hang on. Whoa, wait. You've seen a movie how many times?
33. I'm not kidding you.
33.
While it was still in theaters.
Holy cow.
And so I would see the movie 2 or 3 times, twice in the same day. I was off work for the summer, and it was Elizabeth starring Kate Blanchett. I was completely mesmerized by her performance as Queen Elizabeth I.
Okay, Gina.
That is a great movie.
Look, it's also good. I'm not going to hate. I'm not going to judge. It is a great movie. 33 times, though? How long is that movie? That's like a long movie, isn't it?
Yeah, it was slightly over 3 hours.
A little over 3 hours?
I think so. I think that's how. Yeah, I think so. If I remember
Let's say it's
correctly,
3 hours. Let's say it's 3 hours.
okay.
Then you spent 99 hours in the movie theater. Holy cow!
That is expensive.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I know, but I'm a complete royalty history buff on royal families.
Okay,
that's one of the reasons.
All right, Gina. That's good. Look, that's not a place of. That's from a place of curiosity more than anything else. I want to know, like, okay, I saw this movie twice. I'm good with seeing it twice. Maybe I'd go see it 3 times. Maybe if it was like a special circumstance. 33 times. 33 times. I knew someone that saw this Titanic movie. You remember a couple years ago, like 8 times in the theater.
Oh yeah, that was another long saga.
That's a full day. That's 24 hours. That's 24 hours of Titanic. That's a lot of Titanic. All right, so we're going to move on from that topic, but let's. I do want to keep your phone calls coming in on the CIA. Let's quickly go to Lauren in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Lauren, good morning.
Good morning. The reason Obama cannot replace the CIA director is because he would be blocked by the Senate. You know how obstinate and obstructing they are.
That's not a bad point, Lauren. I mean, the problem, of course, is that, you know, if he gets rid of John Brennan, then what? Right? So if he gets rid of John Brennan and, God forbid, there's a terrorist attack or something like that, then he's going to get all kinds of heat for that. And then he's going to go through the confirmation process. That's a good point. However, if he got someone who would reform this setup of the CIA, take a look at what Edward Snowden divulged, maybe make some, mid-game switches on how they're handling this stuff, I think it would be received well from both progressives and Republicans. Feel free to disagree. 866-55-PRESS is my phone number. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
So this is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing down, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Yes, indeed, it is The Bill Press Show. By the way, not only are we streaming on your our broadcast live on your favorite progressive talk radio station all around the country, not only are we on Free Speech TV and TawkrTV, you can also take us with you on your phone. It's the TuneIn app. Both on iPhone and on the App Store and on Android and all that stuff. It's the Progressive Voices channel. So you could put us on. You could take us wherever. You could put us in the car. You could, if you don't want to get out of bed. If you don't want to get out of bed, you just build yourself a little blanket fort. You put on the Bill Press Show.
That sounds so nice right now.
Doesn't it?
Little blanket fort.
I
man.
would so be in a blanket fort right now. That would be awesome. So anyway, check that out if you need that. It's the TuneIn app. So before we move on, we got a quick call on the CIA John Brennan situation. Joey in Chicago, Illinois. Joey, how's it going, bud?
Great, guys. Great.
Hey, did you get involved?
This guy has to be fired. Are you
okay,
kidding
go
me? Perjury, lying to Congress. This gives all the Republicans need as ammunition to say this is a lawless president. Which laws is he going to follow? Which laws is he going to turn around and enforce? Because you cannot lie to Congress and the American people. They talk about high crimes. This man should be thrown in prison. You can't commit a worse crime than what he did. And I can't believe this guy's standing behind him. This man better fire this guy or we're in trouble come November. I'm telling you, the Republicans are going to jump all over this.
Okay, here's the thing. I hear you, Joey. I agree with you in sentiment. I don't know that this is the worst thing that he could possibly do, but I do think that he should be held accountable. And I think that if the president does not hold him accountable, then he sends the message that, we're a little soft on doing things the right way, staying on the straight and narrow. And if he gets rid of Brennan and he moves him aside, then then I think he can make a very, very clear argument that we hold our people accountable, right? Hey, by the way, is Joey still there, or did Joey take off? He took off. I was going to ask about Lollapalooza this weekend in Chicago. He's sort of a man about town. That seems like the type of thing he would go to and probably hate on, knowing Joey.
Maybe with signs.
Yeah. We love Joey. Joey, call back.
Joey's awesome.
Anytime, 866-55-PRESS. Okay, so Congress is gone. They've taken off. They're on their vacation. For what? 3-month vacation. So before they left, they had to get some stuff done. There's nothing more beautiful than the ballet of Congress rushing out of town and trying to get something done. It's like, don't just stand there doing nothing. Do something. Doesn't matter what it is. Just get something done. So you'll remember that the president came out a couple of weeks ago and said, we got to get something done on the border. We've got these children that are leaving their hell holes and coming to us for help, and we don't have the resources we need to help them. So the president asked for $3.7 billion because Republicans were saying, we got to get something done about immigration. We got to stop this coming in from the border. Don't help the immigrants that are here. Don't help the undocumented that are here. But let's just stop the ones that are coming. That's the Republican take on things. So the president said $3.7 billion is what he needs. Republicans were not happy about that. So the Democrats put together a $2.7 billion bill. They shot that down. So they put together a $694 million bill, which is a fraction of what the president said that we need to actually have this be effective. Now, the president, in his presser on Friday, made sure to point out that he's not a big fan of this.
House Republicans, as we speak, are trying to pass the most extreme and unworkable versions of a bill that they already know is going nowhere, that can't pass the Senate, and that if it were to pass the Senate, I would veto. They know it.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, don't just stand there, do something. They're doing something that they know is not going to work. Like, they know that getting this done is going to be shot down. So what they've done is they've baited the president into having to veto this bill, and then he's going to have to take action on his own because the action that they gave is not enough. So now we've already got like the impeachment stuff swirling back up again. Steve King from Iowa made sure to point out that, if he acts alone on immigration, we're going to have to go on the impeachment stuff again. And so it's all, one big machine. On CNN State of the Union, by the way, yesterday, former Texas Governor Rick Perry, not former, soon to be former Texas Governor Rick Perry, was on talking about immigration, right? So a lot of this stuff happens in Texas. He tried to make the case that things are really, really, really bad on the border, right? Like, tried to make it way worse than it actually is. Here's how he talks about what's going on at the border.
We have seen 203,000 individuals who have illegally come into the United States, into Texas, booked into Texas county jails. And Candy, these individuals are responsible for over 3,000 homicides and almost 8,000 sexual assaults.
Okay, right off the bat, that is not true. That's just not true. The facts are not there. They don't back up what he says. He pulled those out of thin air. They aren't there. The other problem with that is this is not what we're talking about. We're talking specifically about the kids, little kids that are coming over here, that are leaving lands where their families were slain, where they're facing certain death, and they have no other option but to head north and cross the border. Those are the people we're trying to help, not the murderers and the rapists, but the kids. That's the point. So Rick Perry decides that that's not a big enough lie to throw out there. Rick Perry goes on, and he talks about the terror ties that are coming over.
I'm the governor of the state of Texas. My citizens' safety is what's foremost here, and hadn't got anything to do with anything other than those numbers of individuals who are coming across the border. And when you think about the idea that some of them are from countries that have substantial terrorist ties, whether it's Pakistan or Afghanistan or Syria, we are historic record highs with individuals being apprehended from those countries. We say it's time to secure the border.
Okay, so his argument now has moved from they're all murderers and rapists coming from across the border to it's literally another terror attack. That these people, quote, historic record highs with individuals being apprehended from countries that have substantial terrorist ties, end quote, like Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Syria. That is so It's just not based on anything. In fact, you don't have to take my word for it. PolitiFact said that statement was, quote, not accurate and makes a ridiculous claim. The nonpartisan PolitiFact makes a point to say, yeah, he's full of crap. There's absolutely no truth in that whatsoever. 866-55-PRESS is our telephone number, 866-557-7377 if you'd like to comment on the immigration situation, which is what Judy did from Hot Springs, Arkansas, coming on strong today. We had Fayetteville earlier. Now Hot Springs, Arkansas. Judy, what's happening?
Well, I was just calling in to say that we created the mess down there in Honduras, Nicaragua, and Guatemala with the School of the Americas. We've trained these people to go in there and overthrow this government, and we did that in Honduras. And we've got now a dictator down there who's doing exactly what we want him to do. We've got the drugs coming through there, and these people are hurting, and they have no alternative but to come up here. The parents are up here trying to make a living. They're bringing their kids up by themselves, and we created the problem. We need to do something about it.
All right, thank you, Judy, for the call. I'm going to switch really quickly to Twitter, where we are tweeting at BP Show. Rhonda weighing in said, could Rick Perry tell any bigger lies? We are talking about children crossing the border, not his phantom terrorists. Good point, Rhonda. And also, just because we're still getting them, and I'm going to keep reading them because I don't care. The movies that you saw more than once in the theater. Yeah. Astasia weighed in. She said Airplane. She saw Airplane. Oh. That's a good one. It's one of the ones you have to see a couple of times, to catch all the jokes, come a little fast and furious. Jerry Voss weighs in, says, I watched Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke 13 times.
In the theater? Okay. Wow.
Here's the thing about Cheech and Chong movies. You kind of have to see them more than once because you will forget everything in there. Because I don't think anybody's ever watched a Cheech and Chong movie sober.
If you watch them in the right way.
Yeah. Yes. What are you going to do? You're going to go walk in and watch it sober? No. Yeah. Yeah, that's like saying you read Playboy for the articles. Yeah, I watched Cheech and Chong for the cinematography. No. Thanks for the call on that, Jerry. All right, we're going to take a quick break. It's Monday, so we're going to check in with our good friend Scott Bland from the National Journal Hotline. See what exactly happened with Congress and what they got done on that frantic Friday before they headed out of town. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill Press today. Quick break. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
At Earth Justice, we defend the environment in the courtroom. Join our fight. When you take a seat, you take a stand. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
Tune into Free Speech TV for Democracy Now!, a national, independent, award-winning news program bringing you people and perspectives rarely seen on corporate media.
I'm the retired bishop with the Episcopal Church as the bishop for all chaplains in federal service. I read that there was a group of people that represented a sense of injustice that I had. We'd lost Zuccotti. I mean, there was a kind of a hope that maybe Trinity Church would be gracious and give refuge. We picked this day where we would gather and demonstrate that Trinity was closing its ears to what was happening. We marched around the block, and I realized that, my goodness, they're carrying a ladder. And I thought, well, this is the moment. You could feel a spiritual presence. You could feel a certain something. And then the cops came in. It got brutal.
I'm with you right here. Robin, I'm here.
The church needed, in this moment in history, to stand alongside of these protesters. Truth of Christ is found in the pews, is found in the institutional church, but it is also found in the streets. It's found in the honesty and the integrity, the insistence of people that you find in Occupy Wall Street.
Tune in to Gay USA with hosts Ann Northrup and Andy Hum for in-depth coverage of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender news. Watch Gay USA every week, only on Free Speech TV.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show, 47 minutes past the hour. I am not Bill Press, but Bill will be with us in mere moments via telephone. He's out in Asheville, North Carolina. At 880 The Revolution, our good friends down there. Asheville's the best.
I've never been.
Really? North Carolina is, it's changing, a little bit. It's in flux politically. But Asheville is this little, liberal enclave in the middle of the mountains. It's terrific.
I've heard North Carolina is beautiful. I've actually never been down there.
Having grown up in South Carolina, not North Carolina.
Yeah.
I harbor a little, regionality on that whole issue. But, yeah, North Carolina is great. It's Monday, so we are going to be talking to Scott Bland, our good friend, the editor-in-chief for National Journal's Hotline. You can follow him on Twitter at Hotline Scott and read his stuff at nationaljournal.com. Scott, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for tuning or for joining us here. Let's jump into the Congress on their way out of town. What they got done on Friday, because as I was saying earlier, it is sort of hilarious for us to watch this mad dash of things trying to get done in a very short amount of time when Congress knows that they have a vacation coming up.
Well, actually, they overshot their vacation target by a day, and so you had a lot of people coming back from the airport on Thursday night, having learned that they needed to stick around in Washington for another day.
I know how thrilled they were about that.
Oh yeah, at least the weather was nice, right? But basically, what happened is on Friday, is House Republicans went ahead and they passed a border supplemental appropriating money to help deal with the border crisis, and then after that, they passed a separate piece of legislation going after President Obama's DACA program, which is the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. It's his DREAM Act style executive order from 2012, and this is the second of these votes that House Republicans have taken trying to prevent President Obama from doing executive programs like that. And it's neither of these things is expected to become law, but it kind of it fits into a kind of broader pattern for House Republicans of they're kind of having to pass bills all by themselves that to satisfy a majority of their majority of the House, but don't really have any chance of going anywhere or becoming legislation. And so once they come back, they're going to have to start all over again on this process along
Holy
with the Senate.
cow. That's such a headache. But we know what also is interesting is sort of the underlying thing here, aside from the actually getting something done on immigration, is the president said he might have to take executive action on immigration. Republicans are saying some of them started out by calling for impeachment. John Boehner called it a scam last week. So the president said, maybe I have to take some executive action, and maybe they'll talk about impeaching me again, which is exactly what Steve King did over the weekend. He came out and again talked about impeaching the president if he goes down the executive action path for immigration. So, in the middle of this big, important issue, they're still just sort of jockeying back and forth over political points.
Oh, absolutely, and it's kind of a dangerous game, really. That frankly that both sides are playing on this, because impeachment is, and there have been polls on this since it became a real big issue over the last few weeks. Impeachment is a very unpopular thought. Yet, the fact remains that any president could do something to warrant impeachment. To take it off the table entirely would be like an abrogation of responsibility by Congress. But there is this kind of this pushing of buttons that both sides are doing right now. It's a little unseemly.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about how Nancy Pelosi took impeachment completely off the table with George W. Bush. A lot of progressives were a little annoyed by that, sure. Mm-hmm. And so they certainly didn't take it off the table with President Obama. You've had prominent Republicans calling for impeachment. So, I mean, sure. Well, the Democrats are raising money off of that. It's not something that they concocted. It's not a scam, as John Boehner called it. It's a real thing. There are named Republicans who are calling for it.
No, that's absolutely true. And this, the idea that this started on the left is complete falsification.
Yeah, it's a fantasy. Absolutely.
This has been a long-running conversation on on elements of the right, and to his credit, Speaker Boehner has said that he's not going to entertain it, but the fact remains that it is out there. Although I think at this point it's fair to say that Democrats are talking about it a lot more loudly than Republicans are.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. All right, Scott, I appreciate it, but it's Mondays with Scott Bland, our editor-in-chief for National Journal Hotline. You can follow him on Twitter at Hotline Scott and online at nationaljournal.com. Hey, Scott, thank you so much for joining us, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll talk to you again next week. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today. We will be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
This is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing down, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan. Thank you. And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you. Oh, man. Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill today. Bill's going to be joining us here in about 10 minutes, so stay tuned. We're talking Moral Mondays on this Monday, August 4th. Toledo, Ohio, by the way, what is happening?
That's some scary stuff.
It's horrifying. Toledo, Ohio, which is it's the fourth largest city in Ohio, so I mean it's a big deal. There are like 500,000 people. You can't drink the water there. You can't drink it. You can't give it to your pets. You can't even boil it and then use it.
In the middle of the summer.
In the middle of the summer. The problem is they had a situation where some algae grew on the drinking water supply. And here we go. Researchers said that sewage from treatment plants and fertilizer from farms streamed into a lake, triggering an algae bloom near an intake valve that sends water to Toledo and more than a dozen surrounding communities. So if you drink it, you will get very, 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 very sick. They've brought in, it's toxic. Like, it'll kill you to drink the water in Toledo, Ohio. They brought in some fresh water. They're working on getting it fixed. They say they've been working all weekend on getting it fixed.
Yeah, the National Guard.
The National Guard is in.
For a good reason.
But like, yeah, right. 500,000 people? Holy cow. Stay strong, Toledo. We'll be following that story. We'll bring you up to date on that. 2 more hours coming up on the Bill Press Show. Stay tuned.
This is the Bill Press Show.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hello there, my name is not Bill Press. My name is Peter Ogburn. I will be hosting the show today until Bill gets back. But don't worry, Bill is broadcasting live from Asheville, North Carolina, where he is in town there for their Moral Mondays rally later on today. So he's going to be checking in with us. Don't worry, he's on site. We're going to get some updates from Bill while he is on the ground there in the South. He's not the only one out of town. Congress has bolted from Washington, D.C. yet again, a last-minute, last-ditch effort to get something done before they hightailed it out of here for their extended summer break. Not a lot of stuff got done. We're going to cover that right off the bat in the show today. Also, the president on Friday afternoon had a bit of a press conference trying to smooth out some wrinkles that Congress helped create and that, frankly, he helped create and his administration helped to create. What's the latest on the CIA spying situation? What's the latest on immigration? We're going to talk about all of those things. Speaking of the CIA and John Brennan, the president, again, sounding off support for John Brennan, even though he admitted and apologized for wiretapping and snooping on the Senate. Those are the people that are supposed to keep you in check, and you were spying on them? That's not so good. That's not so good. We're going to talk about all of that. Not only, by the way, were we wiretapping the Senate, was the CIA wiretapping the Senate, Israel was wiretapping John Kerry when he was in town. Now, it's tough for us to say, hey, shame on Israel, because, we sort of perfected the whole wiretapping, snooping thing. We got all of that coming up on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in here on the Bill Press Show. Thanks so much.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Just this month, my bill was like $138.
Even at one phone call a week cost me $40 to $50 every month.
I am living on a fixed income of SSI, so this is really a great hardship.
Families are being punished. When they incarcerate your children, they incarcerate the whole family.
In 2011, the Media Action Grassroots Network, Working Narratives, and Prison Legal News founded the Campaign for Prison Phone Justice, an effort to call on the FCC to address the cost of interstate phone calls. The campaign mobilized prisoners to send hundreds of letters. Advocates and families filled out postcards, met with elected officials, and signed petitions. Partnerships were formed across the political spectrum and with groups in the criminal justice, civil rights, and public interest community. The film distribution company Participant Media and director Ava DuVernay joined the fight through a social action campaign tied to the release of the feature film Middle of Nowhere. In an effort to push the FCC to act, the campaign hosted a historic rally outside of the Federal Communications Commission where for the first time, families of prisoners, elected officials, civil rights and faith leaders came together to call for an end to predatory phone rates.
We're all held captive when predatory phone companies gouge our families.
My son has been incarcerated now for over 10 years, and my husband estimates that in the time we spent over $25,000 on prison phone calls.
My hero's not yours, you probably arrested them. Your schools probably neglected them. They spawn thoughts, you probably infected them. Feed us what you feed us, you can lay us next to them. FBI call it major crimes. Babies making babies cry.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
broadcasting around the nation on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Yes, it is The Bill Press Show. That's the name of the show, but that is not me. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill today. Don't worry. We have Bill standing by. Like one of those in case of emergency break glass. We had Bill on standby in case things got so out of control while I hosted. We had to bring in a professional. So Bill is standing by. He is live in Asheville, North Carolina. Details on that in just a moment. Thank you so much for tuning in today on this Monday, August 4th. We are tweeting the show at BP Show. You definitely want to follow there. That's where you get the latest, fastest information from the show. Also, our website is BillPressShow.com. If you want to listen to the show, you can do so on your favorite progressive talk radio station all around the country. But if you don't have one of those, you could just download the TuneIn app. Listen to us on the Progressive Voices channel on the TuneIn app. Wonderful, wonderful app there. You can hear us a couple times throughout the day. And also, if you want to watch the show, we are on Free Speech TV, on DirecTV and Dish Network, and also on YouTube. It's youtube.com/TawkrTV, TawkrTV. You can watch us there. You can see the inner workings of the show. We just do our radio show, and the cameras are just watching. It's a behind-the-scenes peek of what
we are the nucleus of Washington, D.C.
Exactly. What a good way to put that. That is the voice of Elisa Murphy running the board. Elisa, good morning.
Good morning. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Happy Moral Monday.
Happy Moral Monday. A little tease there to what we're going to be talking about here in just a moment. If you want to reach out and touch the show, you can do so by calling 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. And if you do that, you will speak to Alicia Cruz, who is standing by, ready to take your calls on the big topics of the day. And I mentioned we are on video. We are on video because of the great work of Cyprian Bolding. Cyprian and I were talking before the show because we both saw Guardians of the Galaxy this weekend.
Oh, yes.
Cyprian's a big DC comic book guy.
Oh, really?
And this is a Marvel comic. So I was waiting to hear how Cyprian would pass judgment on it. He said it was good.
And Cyprian only saw it once, right?
I did see it twice, mostly because of my children.
Sure,
But you know what? Seriously, we got so many good people who weighed in and told us about the movies that they saw more than once in the theater. We had somebody else weighing in, said Carrie Hunter saw Star Wars in the theater 28 times.
Wow.
Now, 2 times, that means you really like the movie. 3 times is just like bordering your favorite movie of all time status. 28 times,
I don't know how you measure that.
That's just dedication. I mean, because if you saw Star Wars 28 times, I imagine you saw all of the sequels and prequels and things like that multiple times, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy, highest August opening of all time. They made $94 million, was it, this week? Yeah, $94 million. The previous record holder was $69 million.
Wow,
so it was a big
huge
weekend. And summer movies have been pretty slow poking, so this is the first like really, really big hit, it looks like, of the summer. So just saying, got to get that news out there. All right, it is Monday, and you're probably all wondering what I'm doing here in the big chair. I am here hosting in Washington, D.C., so that Bill could be down in Asheville, North Carolina, joining our friends at 880 The Revolution. Bill, good morning. How are you, sir?
Happy birthday, Barack Obama.
Happy birthday, Barack Obama. We have plans on a little celebration later on in the show.
Oh, good. I hope Marilyn Monroe makes it.
We definitely have a couple of celebrity singers here to wish the president happy birthday.
Good morning, gang. Good morning, gang. I miss you all. And greetings from lovely Asheville, North Carolina.
How's Asheville?
Oh, it's Asheville. I love Asheville.
The best.
It's great. It's great, and it's such a lively downtown. Even on a Sunday night, I mean, all kinds of people out, restaurants full, and everybody very excited about the great big rally this afternoon.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that rally here in just a little while, the Moral Monday rally. Bill, really, really quickly, because before you left town to go to Asheville, you were at the White House for the president's presser on Friday afternoon. What were your takeaways from that?
Well, first of all, it was very interesting because we were called to the regular briefing with Josh Earnest at 2 o'clock.
Huh.
And we were all assembled there. And then about 2 o'clock, they said, change of plans. The president himself is coming out at 2:35. So there will be no briefing. It'll be a news conference with the president, which was a special treat. I got to tell you, he was in rare form. He was very feisty, which he isn't always, and he was very funny, too. He started out by just going after Congress. He ripped into Congress, who, of course, left town without doing, the House did this stupid symbolic vote, House Republicans, on immigration, on sending some help to the border, which they knew was going nowhere. Not one Democrat voted for it, and the Senate had already left town. So it was purely a show vote. And then the president pointed out, he said, now, look, here's what they did. They couldn't do anything, so Republicans in the House said, well, now it's up to the president. He has to act by executive order to deal with this immigration crisis.
Wait a minute.
He said, but 2 days ago, they sued me for signing executive orders.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I think that part was masterfully played by the White House.
It was so funny. People just had to laugh. And he was just saying, see how ridiculous it is?
Yeah.
So now the Republicans are begging me to do stuff by executive order when just 2 days ago they voted to sue me.
And Steve King from Iowa, he walked right into that trap when he went on Fox News Sunday yesterday, and he said that if the president takes action on the border, executive action, that could lead to impeachment. So here we go again with the impeachment.
Here we go. That could be an impeachable offense. And then, again, I saw yesterday in the New York Times editorials from people saying, or comments saying, none of us are talking about impeachment. It's all the White House.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, they are. Yes, they are. The other thing, the president was, he was very funny. When Bill Plant, Bill Plant is one of my heroes, right? He just celebrated his 50th anniversary as a reporter with CBS News.
Yeah.
So Bill asked the question. He said, Mr. President, when you look at the Ukraine, at Syria, at the Middle East, at Libya, and at Egypt, he said, the world's basically a mess. And he said, and you've been trying to get a diplomatic solution in every one of those places, and you haven't yet succeeded. So he said, so has the United States lost its juice, basically, and have you lost your influence?
Wow.
Well, which is kind of a tough question.
That's a heavy question.
Yeah. So the president says, well, Bill, he said, I have to say, first of all, even though I want to tell people that this is sort of maybe a secret, that or not such a secret, that we may be the most powerful country on earth, but we can't control everything that happens anywhere in the world. I thought that was a pretty good response.
Sure.
And then he went through one by one progress that actually had been made. And then he said, now, in the Middle East, he said, Bill, they've been fighting each other in the Middle East longer than you've been reporting. Which was perfect. It was really very, very funny.
Yeah.
He also went out of his way several times to express great admiration for and confidence in John Kerry, which I thought was really good because Kerry's been getting some unfair criticism for trying to get a ceasefire in the Middle East.
Right.
Jesus. He may not succeed, but at least he's trying, and he's right to try. The president then went out of his way, which I thought was a little strange, to express total confidence in John Brennan.
Yes, we talked about that a little earlier, and I wanted to get your take on that.
And he's, I just don't see how he can, but his point was, yes, the CIA did the wrong. They discovered that the CIA was spying on the Senate committee, but Brennan is the one who asked for that investigation, and when he found out what they were doing, then, he fessed up and apologized, and Brennan himself would never have done anything like that. So I'm not sure Brennan can ride it out. Maybe he can. And finally, the president talked about the African summit, by the way, which starts today.
Yeah.
And he talked about how important this is because it's the fastest growing continent. The economies there are growing so fast, and and we have to have really good trading relationships with them and help them out, and how important this is, which is particularly significant for him with his roots. Not that he was born in Kenya, but
you said it.
his African roots. And then the president himself raised an issue which I've been wondering about, is the Ebola virus.
Yes.
And he said they have been taking very special steps to make sure that people coming from those Western African countries are being carefully screened before they get on planes, at that end and at this end when they arrive.
That's good that he addressed that, because I know a lot of people are keeping their eye out on the Ebola story as it moves its way here. There's one person coming here for treatment, or is here now for the treatment, and so that's a good thing he pointed that out.
And then the president also reminded us that it was his birthday Monday, and he was waiting for somebody to wish him a happy birthday, which we all did.
Of course you did. Yeah.
He got 2 rounds of golf in, or 2 rounds of golf in.
That's a pretty good birthday weekend.
Yeah, that's almost as bad as going to the same movie twice.
Guilty.
I was thinking, I've never in my life in a theater seen the same movie twice.
It's been a long time. I'd say it's been a very, very long time. But the weather was kind of crappy here, so we went in for a second showing. Bill, as we mentioned, you're in Asheville at 880 The Revolution for the Mountain Moral Monday. What's happening down there?
Well, first of all, this is the great Moral Monday movement that Reverend William Barber started in Raleigh to protest some of the actions, particularly the restrictions on voting rights passed by the North Carolina legislature and the governor. And this movement has just grown and grown and grown. So, I mean, they have thousands and every Monday. These are faith leaders who gather in Raleigh, and thousands of people every Monday. When the legislature is out of session, they travel. The Moral Mondays travel around the state. So today they're in Asheville. They were here last year. Same thing. So they have a big rally this afternoon at 3 o'clock. I'm going to be co-hosting the broadcast of that rally with Jeff Messer, who's their afternoon talk show host here in Asheville on 880 The Revolution. And by the way, everybody can listen to it on iHeartRadio.
Beautiful.
iHeartRadio. We'll be live from 3 o'clock until the speakers end. And it's going to be great. And Reverend William Barber is going to be there, plus a lot of the local faith leaders and civil rights leaders. They are expecting downtown Asheville. Peter, you've been there. It's not that big a town.
Right.
They're expecting 10,000 people today.
No way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And Brian Hall, our general manager, program director from 880 The Revolution, he and I went by there last night, looked at the site, where we're going to be. We're going to be right up front on the stage alongside of the speakers broadcasting from there.
Oh, wow, that's terrific.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
That's terrific. Again, if you're in the Asheville area, it's going to be at Pack Square, but if it's 10,000 people, you're going to have to you're going to have a struggle to try and get nice and close. But it's at Pack Square today, later on today. The Reverend Dr. William Barber, former guest on this show, will be there. Looks like there are going to be some bands there and all kinds of good stuff.
All kinds of music. Music starts at 3:30, I think, and the speakers start at 5, and we start broadcasting at 3.
So here's my biggest concern, Bill. Are you going to get arrested at this thing?
Well, I hope so.
No.
No, this is not a protest where people get arrested. This is a rally to talk about the issues. So,
all right.
I hadn't thought about that because I have a flight tonight to get me back.
Well, we've got
back to D.C. so I can be there with you tomorrow morning.
Yes, you'll be here tomorrow morning, unless, of course, you get arrested. Which, if it's not arrested for protesting, it might be arrested for something else. You know, I mean,
well, that I can't promise. But if I do get arrested, we'll do a phoner from my cell.
You only get one call. Remember that.
Exactly. Make your one call. The Bill Press Show. Perfect. All right, Bill. We're gonna take a quick break. You know how that works.
All right, you got it. Have fun.
Will you join us next hour? Can we call you back? Another update?
I would love to. I'll take another nap and then I'll call you back.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. That is Bill Press, the host of this fine show. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill. Like I said, he's going to be joining us in the next hour. Get another little update on what's going down in Asheville, North Carolina, the Mountain Moral Monday. We've got some information on that on our Twitter page at BP Show. You can find that there. Again, my name is Peter Ogburn, in for Bill Press. Quick break, and we'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Tune into Free Speech TV for Democracy Now!, a national, independent, award-winning news program bringing you people and perspectives rarely seen on corporate media.
Grunt work. Love it, hate it, useful, not useful?
Necessary.
Our social entrepreneurs are people who have been on the front lines of social change. I've learned so much from talking with them. This is Cafe Impact, and I'm Jonathan Lewis.
I will say that I think is a challenge for anyone, especially the new workforce as they come in, is the ability to accept grunt work with grace.
The most boring, awful details are the most important elements of doing this work. From the way you save names in your Rolodex to the way you bank and you deposit checks. The truth is, this work isn't glamorous, it's rewarding. You don't go into this for the glamour, you go into it for the impact. And so it takes that determination to do the scut work to actually get anywhere.
It can be really challenging in a first job for someone who's coming out of finishing school to have the enthusiasm that they do to make the type of social impact that they've dreamed of. And now they're here in this first job and all of a sudden they're shouldered with all this grunt work. And they don't understand and they don't get it and they're resentful.
Talk more about the power of answering phones.
Sure, I did that myself, took out the trash, cleaned offices when I had to, and it's all good. There's power in being a good team player and in being somebody who sometimes has to support other people's leadership before you get to have your own moment in the sun.
Is it hard to wait?
It is absolutely hard to wait, especially if you're an alpha female like I am.
I think grunt work can help a new employee build trust internally and teach them the nuances of how an organization is run so that they can have a real good sense of what HR is doing, what finance is doing, what all the other departments are, and that actually makes them a better employee in the long run.
So in my role on a daily basis, I literally can be looking at a new venture in software. We could be looking at a microfinance deal. I could be making coffee, taking out the trash, and riding a tractor on any given day.
Have you found people who thought it was demeaning that they were given this job, work in the front office and make the coffee when they graduated with all A's from this great university? And,
people like that just don't last very long in our world. If your approach to life is that, you're so smart and you're such a fabulous entrepreneur that you can't understand why people aren't giving you opportunities, it's really hard to advance.
Tune in to Gay USA with hosts Ann Northrup and Andy Hum for in-depth coverage of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender news. Watch Gay USA every week, only on Free Speech TV.
At Earth Justice, we defend the environment in the courtroom. Join our fight. When you take a seat, you take a stand. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn. I am tweeting at Peter Ogburn, by the way. I know it's totally selfish to throw my own Twitter handle out there. But you know.
Have an interesting, you give good tweet, as Arthur Delaney says.
I give good tweet. Thank you. That's sweet of you to say. We're also tweeting at BP Show, which if you're going to follow one of those, follow the BP Show account. Let's be honest. But if you feel like following both, hey, what the heck? This is a story I found on Twitter Twitter.com today, by the way. So Mary's Gourmet Diner in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, which is, we just talked to Bill in Asheville. This is Winston-Salem. So a guy goes in there, he sits down, and he says the blessing before he eats.
Mm-hmm.
And he bows his head, he folds his hands, and makes a whole big public show of it. And so the restaurant gives him his bill, and it was 15% off because he prayed in public.
No way.
So if you go in and you pray in this restaurant, they will take 15% off of your bill. Now, I don't know if you have to pray to Jesus or if you can pray to, whatever. Cthulhu.
Or if you just bow your head and stare at your food.
Or if you're just very sleepy
and
you
nod
just
off
bow
for
your
a
head
little
down
while.
for a second just to catch a couple of quick Z's before your food comes out.
Did they publicize this?
Well, they put it on the receipt.
Wow.
So his receipt comes out, minus 15%, paying in public. So it was like a $40 bill, $40.50, 15% off, so $6 off.
It's like almost taking care of your tip.
There you go. That's almost taking care of your tip. That's right. I'm not so sure about that. Like,
that is strange. I've never heard that.
It's way strange, and it's also kind of like it's similar thing to these people that say, "Oh, if you bring a gun into the restaurant, we'll give you 15% off." Like we heard those stories about the people who were fighting over the whole concealed carry stuff. Like, "Oh, we support gun owners. If you bring your gun in here, we're going to give you some money off." Well, this is equally as stupid.
It's a strange way to promote something like that.
Also, here's the thing: as I'm not a religious person, so if I go in there and I fake prayed, would I fake pray to get that 15% off?
Just check out your sneakers for a little while.
Yeah, exactly. I was just really, really thinking about this plate of food, man. I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop looking at it. They confirmed that it's legit. They say if we see you praying, you get 15% off of your bill. Talk about separation of church and plate. Hey, I got to tell you, no, I don't like that story. Anyway, Mary's Diner. Mary's Gourmet Diner in Winston-Salem. I go somewhere else. It's a little obnoxious. So, John Brennan is still the director of the CIA. The president expressed full confidence in him, even though he spied on the Senate. We're going to talk about that, all the latest with our friend Julian Hattem from The Hill. He's in studio. Stay tuned. That's coming up next.
This is the Bill Press Show.
So this is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
Eye cursor in between the R and the E. When I say dot, I want you to just push the area.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay, so who's gonna do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan, big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
Connect with The Bill Press Show on Twitter. Follow us at BP Show and tweet using the hashtag WatchingBP. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show, 33 minutes past the hour. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today. Monday, August 4th. August?
Already.
Snuck up on us, right? Man. Well, so much to talk about with our friend Julian Hattem. He is the staff writer for The Hill. You see him frequently here on The Bill Press Show. You can follow him on Twitter at JM Hattem, Hattem. You can read his work at thehill.com. Julian, thanks for coming in, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Happy Monday.
This will be more fun than the last interview where I had to interview my boss. Which, by the way, is if the pressure of filling in isn't high enough.
Just a little sweat on your
gotta
brow.
Interview your boss, a professional broadcaster, just to ratchet that heat up just a little bit more. And of course, he made sure to give me heat because I admitted, foolishly perhaps, that I saw Guardians of the Galaxy twice this weekend.
Whoa. That's a good weekend.
Right?
I'm jealous, honestly. I had to move this weekend, so like you.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, no, you beat me.
I have kids, so they bear a lot of the responsibility. But Bill made sure to point out that it was goofy that I saw a movie twice.
No, that's fine. That's great.
I can't think of the last time I saw a movie. The last thing that I saw twice in the movie theater, I think, was Back to the Future 2.
Star Wars, maybe, like when they did like their episode 1. Maybe
Yes.
I saw that.
Okay,
but that was
We had it's funny because people all sort of like weighed in. Somebody said Airplane they saw. Somebody has seen Cheech and Chong 13 times. Up in Smoke 13 times, which is great because like every single time you catch something new because you were so
You weren't exactly all there last time. Yeah.
Someone said Aliens, Blazing Saddles. Someone saw 7 times in the theater. So like, there's some good candidates out there.
Solid movies.
It's not like anybody saw a really really bad movie more than once.
Gigli or something.
Gigli, yeah, right, right. All right. So, Julie, we brought you in to bring us up to speed on the latest with the CIA and their spying on the Senate.
Yeah.
So let's first of all back up and start at the very beginning when this allegation was made. What were the allegations and what are we dealing with here?
Sure. So even back before that, so for a number of years, the CIA, the administration, the Senate have been working on this big, comprehensive, multi-thousand-page report and analysis of the so-called enhanced interrogation techniques.
Mm-hmm.
So, Bush administration, waterboarding, black sites, stuff like that, was very controversial, and that Obama has called torture and has essentially banned since he's been in office. And so this new report is going to be very exhaustive and is likely going to say that these things were very bad, they were very widespread and, more brutal than we'd understood, and perhaps most damning for a lot of their supporters, they have also been ineffective for the large part.
Right.
They've been working on that. That classified analysis is now completed. But the Senate Intelligence Committee has been working on getting a unclassified executive summary out to the public. And so to do this, they've been kind of communicating with the CIA over this secretive, very secure communication channel network. And back in February or March, I think it was, Dianne Feinstein, the head of the Intelligence Committee, said that the CIA had been using that channel to spy on her staffers, that they'd been essentially hacking in and reading their emails for one and finding out what they were writing about the report and what they thought about it. And this, the CIA is terrified of this thing. As far as we can tell, it's of course still classified, but they look really bad, and there's this sense that they are going to come off like real villains in this thing. And so last week, Dianne Feinstein made that accusation earlier this year, and almost immediately afterwards, John Brennan, the head of the CIA, said, no, we would never.
In fact, that's the thing about modern technology. We have the tape. We have the tape. March of earlier this year.
Yeah. As far as the allegations of CIA hacking into Senate computers, nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, we wouldn't do that.
We wouldn't do that.
That's just beyond the scope of reason.
Beyond the scope of reason.
So that's pretty definitive,
There's
right?
a gray area there.
Usually when they deny these things, they're like, we wouldn't want to say, but it doesn't sound like... This was very clear. We did not do this. We would never do this.
There's a Washington answer.
Yeah.
Where you leave the door open. This is not a Washington answer.
Yeah.
Like, this is, remove all doubt from the scenario.
And then, lo and behold, last week, actually, an internal watchdog inspector general says, no, you did.
Whoops.
Yeah.
So Brennan had to come out and own up to it.
Yeah. He apologized to the heads of the Intelligence Committee. He said, essentially, my bad. Like, this was a really bad thing. And he's handing the matter off to some accountability board that's going to be headed by Evan Bayh, the former senator from Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean... Obviously, this has been pretty controversial. A number of people have said no. Like, either A, you knew, which potentially violation of the Constitution, separation of powers issues, or B, you didn't know, which is maybe as bad.
Call your office, yeah.
Yeah, right? And so there's been some cause for him to resign, and, either way, he's in a lot of hot water.
So let's get into, before we move on to how the president handles this, let's park right here on how the Senate will reacted to his apology and his admission, because Dianne Feinstein was, I think we could say, not pleased when this originally came out. Has she said anything about his apology and what happens next?
So originally, when she made this accusation, she went on the floor of the Senate for 40 minutes and just railed on the CIA, and she has kind of a reputation in these circles for being kind of chummy with the intelligence community. So this was a big break for her. And so then this accusation was confirmed last week, and she issued this statement saying, this was obviously bad, but I appreciate Director Brennan's positive first steps. And so there's some indication that maybe she's willing to kind of somewhat forgive and forget as long as he does something.
Okay.
But a lot of other members on the committee, they're like, no.
They're not so enlightened, huh?
Yeah.
No.
Rand Paul, who's been a big civil liberties guy, as well as, Ron Wyden has been critical, but has not called for him to step down. Mark Udall, Martin Heinrich, a lot of these senators have been saying, no, buddy, you're done. You're out.
So Bill, who's not here today, he's in Asheville for the Moral Monday thing. He on Friday said it's really, really tough for John Brennan to go on as the head of the CIA.
Yeah.
He should it's time. You should go. Once you come out in front of the American people and you give out such a definitive defense of what you're doing and how you are doing the right thing and you're not spying and all this stuff, it's really tough. It's really tough.
And it's going to get tougher. So there's this report that still has to come out.
Exactly.
And when it does, and it's still unclear when that's going to happen, it's going to make the CIA look really, really bad.
Yeah.
And he obviously wasn't leading the CIA through this time, but he has been friends with a lot of these people, and he's the guy.
He's the guy.
The buck's going to stop somewhere.
Exactly.
So I mean, it remains to be seen. As you said, the president has been maintained his full support for John Brennan.
Here's the president from the press conference on Friday where he was asked about John Brennan.
I have full confidence in John Brennan.
Oh.
I think he has acknowledged and directly apologized to Senator Feinstein.
Now, here's the perhaps a pattern we're seeing out of the president, right? Because he did this with Kathleen Sebelius.
Yeah.
He did this with Shinseki, right? With like major screw ups, major goofs, and then he stood by them until it got sorted out.
Until like the main kind of conflict had been dealt with, and then,
basically
like, the crisis period had been passed.
You break it, you buy it.
Yeah.
You're in charge. You screwed things up. You have to fix it, and then we're tossing you overboard. So maybe that's what's happening here.
It remains to be seen. If I were a betting man, that could be one likely scenario. I mean, I am sure there are many meetings at the White House for the last couple of days. Like, all right, what do we do, guys? Let's deal with this.
How do we handle this?
Yeah, and it's the president. Like, he doesn't want to deal with this. He's going into his lame duck session. He doesn't want to have this weight dragging him down for the next year.
Yeah, exactly.
While he already has very little of power.
Yeah, right. My question is now, as this moves forward and as we await this report, what does that do, and how does the intelligence community adapt or change in the immediate future?
So it's important to remember.
And by the way, if we could combine this with all the Edward Snowden stuff, like all together, cumulatively, we've had all of this stuff, this wave of info about our intelligence community. So what happens now?
Yeah, I mean, it's, at least in the public sphere, there's this real sense over the last year and a half or so since the Snowden stuff that the intelligence community, the NSA, the CIA, are not on our side, that they're kind of enemies who are villains and snooping on you. And so from a PR standpoint, for one, that's just, hugely degrading for people who, we should remember, during the Bush administration, were heralded and these enhanced interrogation techniques or whatever. There were a number of memos saying they were very clearly legal at the time. So for a long time, I think they felt that they were patriots, and now they're being kind of scorned and criticized. And this comes on the heels also. The CIA station chief in Germany was kicked out of the country after one of the Snowden leaks and kind of ongoing tensions there. So it makes them look bad, both at home for one reason. It hurts kind of congressional CIA oversight. That relationship is really damaged, which is problematic.
Yeah.
And kind of abroad, it makes U.S. spies look not only like kind of bumbling idiots for spying on your overseers, but also like untrustworthy, kind of secretive, morally ambiguous people.
That's I think is a really, really, really big part of it, right?
Yeah.
Like you have the black helicopter crowd.
This does not help that assuage that image.
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it really doesn't. Like I'm not a member of the black helicopter crowd. But I can understand it.
The more you hear, you're like, maybe they got something.
Wait a minute. Maybe we didn't put a man on the moon. Maybe everything I know is a lie. All right, let's take a quick break. But boy, we're gonna get. I'm sure we're gonna get some really interesting tweets and emails now after that. I was kidding. I'm sure we landed on the moon. To give us a call, by the way, 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. The question right off the bat is, John Brennan, should he stay or should he go? 866-557-7377. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill today. We've got Julian Hattem from The Hill in studio. Quick break. We'll be right back.
This is The Bill Press Show.
Tune into Free Speech TV for Democracy Now!, a national, independent, award-winning news program bringing you people and perspectives rarely seen on corporate media.
I'm the retired bishop with the Episcopal Church as the bishop for all chaplains in federal service. I read that there was a group of people that represented a sense of injustice that I had. We'd lost Zuccotti. I mean, there was a kind of a hope that maybe Trinity Church would be gracious and give refuge. We picked this day where we would gather and demonstrate that Trinity was closing its ears to what was happening. We marched around the block, and I realized that, my goodness, they're carrying a ladder. And I thought, well, this is the moment. You could feel a spiritual presence. You could feel a certain something. And then the cops came in. It got brutal.
I'm with you right here. Robin, I'm here.
The church needed, in this moment in history, to stand alongside of these protesters. The truth of Christ is found in the pews, is found in the institutional church, but it is also found in the streets. It's found in the honesty and the integrity, the insistence of people that you find in Occupy Wall Street.
Tune in to Gay USA with hosts Ann Northrup and Andy Hum for in-depth coverage of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender news. Watch Gay USA every week, only on Free Speech TV.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill today. Tweeting during the show at BP Show, a must follow. I'm also tweeting here and there at Peter Ogburn. I wouldn't follow me. You should follow the Bill Press Show account. I wouldn't follow me. Although I'm like 4 followers away from 2,000.
Oh, it's a good Monday gift.
Right? So come on.
Hint, hint, wink, wink.
This is like the worst thing ever to ask for Twitter followers. And if somebody was doing it, I would hate on them so bad. But follow me. Why not? What the hell, right? Look at Elisa. She knows how obnoxious it is. I don't care. I don't even care.
Did you get one yet?
Maybe. Someone called me a gentle buzzsaw today.
Is that good?
I don't know. I can't figure it out, right? I'm like, I'm really torn. A friend of mine said that they heard it. She said it was very good. She said, that's a good thing. That's a good description. I'll take it, I guess.
Sure.
All right. So, Julian, let's talk about this story. This is breaking. When Secretary of State John Kerry was trying to broker a peace deal between Israel and the Palestinian Authority earlier this year, the German news magazine Der Spiegel reported that the Israelis wiretapped and intercepted the phone calls from John Kerry. Right?
That's not a good. That's
really bad,
thing
right?
That people want to be hearing.
That's bad.
That's bad. That's bad. That sounds bad. Yeah.
So I got a couple things to say about this. Number one, obviously, that's not good, and it certainly shows that you're not entering like a good faith arrangement and agreement here that you're going to actually try and work to find something, right? Like it seems like they're up to something, but at the same time, kind of tough for us to really get mad at them for doing it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we probably wiretapping is kind of above that. That's a new step, but we certainly spy on the Israelis. I mean, we shouldn't kind of he who was without sin cast the first stone, and the U.S. is not at all blameless in this situation. So. It's a mutual spying street. I guess it's a two-way street, but it's not it doesn't look very good.
Like, here's the thing, right? When we first started talking about the spying on Americans and spying on world leaders, we very publicly got busted spying on Angela Merkel in Germany. Everybody said, "Oh, well, everyone does this."
Yeah.
Like, if you think that we're not spying on other people, and we kept saying, "Well, what if someone did it to us? Would you be so?" Well, now someone's done it to us, so y'all are cool with this, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's okay with it. We're good with it.
I'm sure John Kerry says, that's fine.
Yeah,
Whatever.
Yeah. I'm sure the president's going to have that reaction. But look, I'm anti this. Like I'm anti tapping world leader phones. Okay, whether we're doing it or whether they're doing it to us. So, in the big picture, Julian, in the like 2 minutes that we have left, NSA reform, total revamp, or are we talking about just like a couple of nips and tucks, or where are we and what happens
So
next?
Obama has talked about doing some of these things on his own, ending the kind of wiretapping of world leaders, kind of friendly foreign leaders is how he's phrased it. It's kind of unclear who that means, but presumably Bibi Netanyahu falls under that category, some other folks. But I mean, as we were talking about before, there's this big public backlash about this spying, and news like this, news that we spied on Angela Merkel, news that the CIA is spying on the Senate, doesn't help that. There's this bill in Congress now to reform the NSA and some other, so-called bulk collection kind of technologies and capturing stuff. It's unclear to how that proceeds now. It's August. The Congress is out for a month in August, so they're step back for a little bit, then we got the midterm elections, and it's not entirely a clear path forward here, and it's not, entirely sure what's going to happen. But one thing we can say is that people are certainly, very upset, and there will be more stories like this, whether from Snowden or whether from whatever, and that does not help it in any way.
You've got this interesting issue in that you've got guys like Rand Paul and guys like Ron Wyden who are sort of on the same side of this NSA thing, and when you unite people like that, there's smoke. I'll put it that way. So something's got to be done, because I think there is a sect of Americans who are totally fine with it. There's I'm not doing anything wrong, so you could spy on me all you want, and then there are the other people who, even though they realize they're not doing anything wrong, they just don't want to be spied on by their government.
Yeah. And this is an interesting thing. This new NSA reform bill in the Senate, Ted Cruz is one of the co-sponsors, which is, from a Republican political perspective, that's a very interesting move for him. And I guess it could kind of point to the way that how this is going to blow up in politics in the next, year or so.
Well, we'll keep watching it, and you'll keep covering it. We'll have you back in soon to talk more about it. Julian Hattem from The Hill. Follow him on Twitter at JMHattem on Twitter, and also read his work at thehill.com. Thanks so much, Julian. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, and then we will be back. We will talk about the president's schedule, what he's up to today. Stay tuned.
This is the Bill Press Show.
At Earth Justice, we defend the environment in the courtroom. Join our fight. When you take a seat, you take a stand. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
Tune into Gay USA with hosts Ann Northrup and Andy Hum for in-depth coverage of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender news. Watch Gay USA every week, only on Free Speech TV. Tune into Free Speech TV for Democracy Now!, a national, independent, award-winning news program bringing you people and perspectives rarely seen on corporate media.
I probably would make a time machine. I would make medicine for the sick. I'd probably invent something new.
我会赢到5个总冠军戒指。
If I could have an extra 5 years to live.
You said 5, right?
5 years. It's a long time.
I would try to fix everything I did bad.
I would bring my uncle back because I miss him very much.
I would get more hamsters.
I would probably want to go looking for dark matter. I think I'd go looking for aliens. If I could live an extra 5 years.
I was thinking about making like a helicopter, like a wooden helicopter, but I don't have any wood.
I want to go check out the moon sometime.
I'd probably teach my sister not to hate tuna. I would try and invent a machine that lets you run at light speed. If I had 5 more extra years to live, I would be the boss of all the chipmunks. Eu cantaria na frente de 1 milhão de pessoas. I don't really know. I think I'd do anything. Why are you asking me that?
This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today. It's this time in every show that we sort of go through what the president is up to, what he has on his schedule. It's a pretty light schedule today. He's going to be getting the presidential daily briefing at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And he's meeting with the Secretary of the Treasury, Jack Lew, at 11:45. And then we have a briefing at 12:45, which Bill usually goes to, but he won't be able to because he's down in Asheville, representing the show for 880 The Revolution at their Mountain Moral Monday rally. 10,000 people.
That's unbelievable.
10 grand in downtown Asheville. That's a lot of people in downtown Asheville. I'm not sure how they're going to fit 10 grr in there, but Bill's going to be right in the middle of it. So if you're in Asheville, you can listen on 80 The Revolution or on iHeartRadio. And if you're not in Asheville, use that iHeartRadio app. You can listen to it live this afternoon. Bill is hosting the afternoon show there. Going to be a great setup. And of course, I forgot to mention on the president's schedule, it's his birthday.
Big day.
53 years young. So I imagine he'll be going out to dinner tonight. So we'll have an update on that tomorrow morning.
This is the Bill Press Show.
West here reporting from Houston, Texas for Climate Desk. Now, one of the biggest uncertainties in climate science right now is the role of clouds. What better way to work that part out than flying right through them? That's what NASA scientists aboard this airplane think. Welcome to NASA's biggest airborne laboratory. You're coming with us today on an 8-hour NASA flight mission.
When you read these big IPCC climate assessments, what's the biggest uncertainty? There's two, right? The role of aerosols and clouds. Clouds is probably bigger than aerosols.
That is a piece of a puzzle that right now we are missing.
You can't get the models right if you don't understand the chemistry and the process.
Now we're being told we've got to get on. The doors are about to shut, so let's go aboard. Every time you turn on the weather, every time you hear a climate change prediction, that information has to come from somewhere. And it starts by getting sucked out of the air from planes like this.
this mission is to particularly try to understand the emissions from the surface, so mostly biogenic emissions, so from trees and other plants.
Right now we're flying to our very first part of this experiment on the DC-8. Over Arkansas, there's a particularly pungent bouquet of emissions that scientists are interested in measuring.
Well, these emissions lead to both aerosols and to molecules that both destroy and create ozone. So these are very important things to understand for climate studies.
How it will manifest itself, it will be in more accurate and more reliable predictions.
So what we're doing is taking a series of flyovers, each at a different level of the atmosphere, scooping up those emissions, testing them, and hopefully scientists are going to see exactly what's in this column of air all the way up.
The data that we collect in one flight can keep busy 60 scientists and students for 3 years, 4 years. We're still studying data from data collected 20 years ago.
In fact, this particular mission today is its most heavily equipped in its nearly 30 years of service. Each one of these consoles here is a specially equipped scientific instrument designed to collect all sorts of different data in real time.
And this instrument here tracks the sun.
We're looking at mist chambers. They're used to strip soluble gases.
This black line is the CO2. It's about 390 ppm right now.
We're putting these filters in the bags and we've got the aerosols that we trapped out of a certain amount of air. And so we're sampling up here about 150 liters a minute.
That ultimately flows back into the operational models. It flows back into what goes on TV every day.
Anyway, I got to get this sample going.
You do it. It's a busy man at work. We can't let him rest. Well, get this. We've just spent 2 hours crisscrossing this one cloud formation. In, back out again, back in again.
Then they grow, and we track them as long as we can, and then we let it go.
Even one cloud can hold a host of answers to the mysteries of climate change.
The patterns of, where the clouds are, what type of clouds we see, what kind of weather systems they're associated with it, that'll all be shifting in a shifting climate, in a world with climate change.
Then the big spark is when we actually get the meat on the grill. And then it will be some time to process it.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww. You should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show. Good morning. Happy Monday, August 4th. August already? Yes, indeed. I am not Bill Press. I am Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill Press. Everyone's freaking out. Where's Bill? We had Bill on the show earlier. Here's the deal. Bill is in Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh, great place.
Which is lovely, right?
Lovely. Who feels bad for Bill? That's a wonderful place to be.
Well, we made him get up early. We made him get up early and do a phoner with us at like 7, or like on the East Coast time, because he's down there for a Moral Monday situation, a Mountain Moral Monday rally in downtown Asheville with our station 880 The Revolution. Great station down there. So he's down there. We're going to talk to him a little bit later on in the hour. But of course, I couldn't do this show by myself. I have to bring in smarter people than me. Not unlike the way...
Couldn't find any today, though.
Not unlike the way that a donut fills an empty, vacuous space with, like, wonderful things that everyone loves. So I brought in Erikka Knuti, Democratic strategist, to join me in studio for the hour. Erikka, how are you?
I'm doing really well. Doing great.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you. Yesterday was my birthday, so...
Come on, really?
Yes. I'm
Happy birthday.
I think I'm like 24 hours older today than I was.
Wait a minute.
Well, everyone's always 24 hours
Did you go out partying last night and then we made you come in early?
Well, no, I brought the party to myself. I had my really good friends, Ben and Thayer, that I went to high school with, and then my boyfriend was in town, and so we grilled, my friend Mikey as well, we grilled out in my backyard. There was some bourbon, there were some brats involved, so mixing a little Southern with a little Midwestern. And so it was a great birthday. I did State of the Union on CNN yesterday morning. So the whole birthday
very
was
nice.
Like 7:45 in the morning, like me and Newt Gingrich hanging out in the green room. I was like,
boy,
this is the weirdest birthday party I've ever been to.
That's really odd. You know whose birthday is today? Is the president. Barack Obama is 53 years old today.
Yes.
So in honor of
a fellow Leo,
your birthday and the president's birthday, we have this.
This is your birthday song. It doesn't last too long. Hey!
We'll go both verses. We'll go. We can go. We can play the. Can we play the whole thing?
Oh, okay.
We can play the whole thing this
birthday.
time. Go for it. The whole thing.
This is your birthday song. It doesn't last too long. Hey!
Because there's a second verse.
Now, my colleagues, the second verse is exactly like the first verse.
Let's don't sing it.
This is your birthday song. It doesn't last too long. Hey, happy birthday!
There you go.
Ralph.
So from John Boehner to you and to Veronica, happy birthday. I hope you had a good birthday.
I did. It was a little bit better just there.
Yeah, right.
That's just
Right. It was okay, and now
it was
it's
all right.
Boom. All right. So one of the reasons that we wanted to have you in was to talk about the Congress fleeing the city as they do every summer. I was saying earlier, there's nothing greater than the awkward ballet of congressmen trying to get the hell out of town, but also trying to make it look like they got something done.
Yes.
So like all they want to do is just Fred Flintstone out of here, but they can't leave all this stuff on the table. So what did they get done before they left?
Well, yeah. It's also the happiest time of year for staffers. This is when all the bosses kind of disappear. But I think this year, the border bill debacle in the House is kind of the one looming thing that everyone's going to be still trained on, because there's children still coming across the border. We don't have facilities for them. We don't have enough lawyers. We don't have enough hearings available. We are administratively ill-equipped to deal with what's going on down at our border with these kids from Central America. So regardless of kind of the day-to-day business of Congress, I mean, sure, we'd like to have them do spending bills, which they didn't do last Congress. Sure, we'd like to have them, kind of look into comprehensive reform, but we have a real crisis immediately facing us, and we have not done anything. We've passed some bills that we know can't be reconciled. We passed kind of a symbolic bill to deport 500,000 kids who are, for all intents and purposes, other than administratively Americans. They were brought here illegally. They're the Dreamer kids. So that's kind of what we got done, but didn't get done. Didn't get done at the same time, right before leaving for recess. And I think what makes this so particularly important is that, yes, there was some work done with highway and everything, but that this is what, when these members go home, I think this is what constituents are going to be talking about.
I think that's a good point. I do think that's a good point. And to sort of follow sort of the timeline of how this happened. So the president came out. He said we need $3.7 billion to address the border crisis.
Which seems like a lot.
Seems like a lot. But at the same time, he has a constant drumbeat of people saying we have to do something about securing the border.
Well, and more so, I think the timeline, right? So he was looking for funding for a longer period of time than what Congress wanted to give him. So when you see the discrepancy between the president's number and the congressional numbers, it's not like they're like completely kneecapping him. The reduced number, I mean, that's a game that happens in any budgetary situation. President asks for 2 spending years, 3 spending years, to extend it all the way to the CR, whatever. And then Congress says, no, we'll only give you a short term. So this is kind of where that is. But yeah, so President comes out, he's like, we've got kids coming over the border. We have, vigilantes traipsing down to the border. We got Rick Perry releasing the National Guard. I mean, like, gosh, Rick Perry.
We have to talk about that. We have the audio.
I'm going to miss
that.
Rick Perry when Rick Perry's gone.
Right?
I like the new, Clark Kent Rick Perry with his new smart glasses.
Those glasses
that he's
are
been wearing, yeah. But going back to the bill here, there's been this drumbeat of border secure, secure the border, the border's insecure. And I'd like to point out for a second here that the border is secure. These kids aren't sneaking in.
Right.
We're catching them.
Right.
Which
right.
means
like they're looking for us.
Right.
They're not trying to get by us. They're looking for us. And that's I think one of the biggest problems. Hey, Elisa, can you get the 2 Rick Perry clips from CNN, State of the Union yesterday, which you were on? You were on just after Rick Perry. Mm-hmm. He talked about what's going on at the border. So what we're really talking about in reality is we're talking about these kids that are coming up from the border from really, really bad situations. They need help. They need safe haven. They're looking for it from us. That's not how Rick Perry sees it.
We have seen 203,000 individuals who have illegally come into the United States, into Texas, booked into Texas county jails. And Candy, these individuals are responsible for over 3,000 homicides and almost 8,000 sexual assaults.
Okay. We're gonna touch on that in just a second, but because he goes on and he says there's historic record highs with individuals being apprehended from countries that have substantial terrorist ties. So like Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Syria, which is something that PolitiFact shot down and said these statements are, quote, not accurate and make a ridiculous claim.
Yes.
No uncertain terms there.
No uncertain terms, ridiculous claim. And Candy Crowley corrected him on his numbers there, too. I mean, he was overinflating numbers. Sometimes when Rick Perry gives numbers, we don't really know where they come from. They just kind of come from Rick Perry's mind, I guess.
Yeah, they're numbers-ish.
Numbers-ish, right. There certainly are numbers. They're just not.
They resemble numbers, so the right numbers.
They're not the correct numbers. They're numbers-ish. But, these are kids fleeing Central American countries. Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua are some of the big ones. I was actually down in El Salvador because I pick great vacation destinations.
Holy cow, really?
Yeah, for the 4th of July. I went down. I have a friend who works for USAID, which is our government agency that provides aid and governance support and does a lot of programs that are supposed to address some of these issues in Central America. And I was down there for the 4th of July. I was like, why would you go there? Like, what is it that you're looking for? But it was actually a very beautiful country, but you did have this feeling of insecurity everywhere you were. There was and I hadn't seen this since I lived in Moscow in the late 90s. There were broken bottles.
Well, you really know how to pick them, huh?
I know. I really... I blame that on my parents. My parents were like, let's move to Russia.
Yeah. Moscow, El Salvador, any big plans coming up?
I hear that Kandahar's lovely this time of year.
Yeah, sure.
But seriously, there was, broken bottles cemented on the top of buildings so that if you were to scale a wall, you'd be cut. There was, you see security people everywhere with large guns and this kind of overall feeling that just kind of unease that there's something. And I was there for just, 5 days, 6 days. And even I could feel that kind of palatable unease around where I was around San Salvador. So I can see why. And also, when you see a jungle, I mean, no wonder we've lost everything we fought in a jungle. A jungle is difficult. People can hide. You can traffic things. You can have cache. I mean, it's just the idea of that there are, drug wars, drug lords, these traffickers that are hiding in these countries. You can really see how easy it would be.
Wow. That's scary. That's actually scary, and that's something that we don't hear about a lot when we talk about this debate.
Right.
It's all about just centrally located on the border, not what is going on the other side.
Well, right. I mean, there's something that's driving these kids, and they're sure as hell not sitting around. 7-year-olds, 11-year-olds aren't being like, well, I hear that John Boehner's having trouble keeping the Tea Party caucus in line.
Yeah.
So now's the time for us to cross the border because the only thing they'll pass is the DREAM Act. Like, that's not what's happening. That is not what's happening.
So let me ask you this, because you've worked in Congress, and when you go on these breaks, right, and you go back home and you face the constituents,
it's the most wonderful time of the year.
I mean, for staffers and stuff, I imagine it's a nice time. But these politicians, I mean, do they really go back and face any kind of real heat? They hold these town halls.
Yes, it is. I mean, first of all, it's a legislatively mandated break, that goes back to it was the 1970 Reorganization Act. But what happened in 1963 is that Congress was in session, actually working. I wonder what that would have been like.
What kind of crap is that?
I know, right? They were working, and they only had something like 3 weekends off, and they do represent, their constituents, and particularly even back then, it was harder to communicate. You really had to go back to your district in order to get feedback, get a sense. And there's something about, I remember when we were doing the health care bill and I was working in the Senate, the members were all complaining to each other, and this is true about politicians, that they just needed to get on the ground. If they could just land in their districts, in their states, and like, you can feel the sentiment, and you can start to hear people talking to you, that they all felt very nervous because they'd been kept out of their states for so long that they felt like they were kind of losing a grip on what the word on the ground was.
Yeah.
So they all look forward to August because it's a chance to kind of gut check themselves. I mean, staffers, we prepare for August for, a month and a half out, which is huge planning for Congress. Because, their schedules are so, like, first there's votes, then there's no votes.
Right,
you really can't plan.
Right.
And, we're stacking them up, every county fair, every picnic, every barbecue, out to, visit every company that's just added however many 100 jobs. And they are on the road constantly all over the place, meeting and greeting and talking to people, holding town halls.
You mentioned the healthcare stuff, because that was the last time that I think that it really, really, we all paid attention to what was going on back at home and at these town halls, because everybody was hearing about it. What are they going to hear about? What's the issue going to be back home this time around?
Well, I think there's the broader issue of Congress not working. The previous Congress, the 112th, was the categorical worst Congress ever until this Congress.
Yeah, right.
So I feel like in January, once this one is officially wrapped up, we will be able to say that this was categorically the worst Congress, stealing the title from last Congress. So I think that overall, people are tired of hearing Congress couldn't get it done, or bill failed in the Senate, or passed in the House, no chance in the Senate, or any of those things, or nominations and filibuster, all those words that at this point are code to Americans for inaction, ineffective. Gosh, really?
Yeah.
Kind of again.
Yeah.
So those things are kind of this overall arching thing. I think at town halls, you're going to hear more general complaints about Congress not doing things. I think the big thing, again, as I mentioned before, is going to be immigration and this border issue. I think that's going to be really the big one. I would hope that it would be more about immigration comprehensively, because I think that this particular current border issue is the perfect example of what happens when you don't do comprehensive immigration reform. We literally have a broken system. Everybody knows it.
Yeah.
It's been acknowledged. And we're sitting here twiddling our thumbs, waiting for kind of the levee to really break.
Yeah.
And that's what's starting to happen. If we tackled individual parts of this, like, say, just take back the child trafficking law and say that we're going to cut down the time that we're allowing these kids to kind of get a hearing and all that stuff. We're going to roll that back. Well, there's H-1B visas, there's student visas, there's all kinds of different issues in terms of families that are on waiting lists and kids that are kind of stuck in this hole of coming over when they were kids, illegal now adults, dreamers. I mean, we have all of these issues. We cannot deal with this piecemeal. And so I think we're going to see a lot of pressure to deal with it piecemeal. Everyone's going to have their specific issue. But that really, what Congress needs to do is do this comprehensively. And I think we're going to see a shift from comprehensive immigration reform now to do this border bill, get these kids out of here now. I think that's going to be the big one.
Meanwhile, they've sort of put it back on the president to get something immediately done on the border stuff. So
yeah, I mean,
So it's like, so they can't get it done. So they tell the president, you have to get something done. So he's gonna.
Right, we're going to sue you though.
Right.
For
and talk impeachment
orders.
again.
Right.
Because of your executive actions, we're now putting you in a position that you have to do. Like, I thought it was masterfully played where at the presser on Friday, where the president said, look, they put it now back onto me. They've said that they're going to impeach me if I take executive action. So what am I, like, I'm going to take executive action and they're going to start talking impeachment again. And like, who was it? Was it Steve King from Iowa? Just took the bait. Hook, line, and sinker. Goes on the Sunday shows. I think it was on Fox News Sunday. He says, if he acts on immigration, we're definitely talking about grounds for impeachment. It's just like, totally got him.
Yeah, and this is the thing, is that the Republicans also started to say that this was what the Democrats in the White House wanted. Like, the White House spoke up and was like, you know what would be fun? Let's be impeached today.
Yeah, right.
Because every president loves that. Bill Clinton had such a good time. It looked like so much fun. We should do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not what happened. What they're responding to is the fact that Democrats have been able to fundraise off of it.
Right.
And they don't like that.
Right.
We're going to fundraise off of the threat to impeach you. We're going to rile up our base. But if your base gets excited, by preventing it or responding, then now it's all.
Yeah, what was it? I mean, we had the audio last week of John Boehner saying this whole thing was a scam, and it's not. I mean, it's a real thing. It wasn't pulled out of thin air.
No, and these members. I mean, so what you see, if you look back, if you go through and pull some of the quotes, and I was looking at this actually at the end of last week, you go through and you look at so-called the adults in the room. Anytime someone brings up impeachment to them, what they do is they'll first say, oh, well, we don't have the votes in the Senate, or if it was up to me, I wish we could. And that's so kind of initially acknowledging it. And then they go on and say, but it's not a reality, and we've got to fight hard on X, Y, and Z. But the problem with that is the first part, which is they are not nipping it in the bud with their kind of extreme wing of their party and their constituents. They need to address this straight on and say, there's no high crimes and misdemeanors here. There's no treason. There's no bribery. There is no grounds for impeachment. But instead, by leaving it slightly open, they've allowed it to continue and continue and continue. All
right, good stuff. We got to take a quick break. Erikka Knuti is in studio with us. Lots more. You're in studio for the whole hour.
I'm here. How
much fun is this? We're going to be talking to Bill Press in just a little while, so stay tuned for that and lots more to talk about. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press. Quick break, and then we'll be back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov. If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory? Did you take a chance?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat? Did you commit to change the world?
This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn. I am sitting in for Bill today, but don't worry. Bill's going to be joining us here in like 4 minutes. Everyone's freaking out. Everyone's freaking out that I'm hosting. But Bill's in Asheville, and we're going to be talking about the Mountain Moral Mondays. Our friend of Bill for the whole hour, it's a friend of Peter, I guess, since I'm hosting, is Erikka Knuti, Democratic Strategist. Thank you so much for coming in. We got lots to talk about after we talk to Bill. I want to talk to you about the race in Kentucky. Mitch McConnell and his possible downfall from grace. We'll talk about that in a couple of moments. But up next, it is Bill Press, the host of the show, live from Asheville. So stay tuned. Quick break, and we'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
This is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing dot, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
Connect with The Bill Press Show on Twitter. Follow us at BP Show and tweet using the hashtag WatchingBP. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show, 33 minutes past the hour. Bill Press is not here in the studio for the Bill Press Show, but we do have him on the phone live from Asheville, North Carolina. For 880 The Revolution, it is Mountain Moral Monday. My name is Peter Ogburn. I have Erikka Knuti, Democratic strategist, in studio with us. Erikka, how's it going?
Going great.
Thanks so much for being here for the hour. So let's check in with. By the way, Bill, I know you're there. How's it going?
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hi, Erikka.
Hi.
Good to talk to you, sir. I mentioned in the last hour when we talked to Bill, as if I don't have enough heat hosting the show, now I have to interview my boss on the air. So go easy on me, dude.
Well, I want you to know I'm starting to think that doing the show remote from on the
don't get any ideas.
It's not bad.
Don't get any ideas. I bet you're in bed right now. You know,
No, I'm not.
Okay, all right, good. I figured you'd be up and about.
I am. Don't ask what I'm wearing.
That's the beauty of radio, right?
Yeah.
Dress for radio.
So, Bill, but we're going to talk about Mountain Moral Mondays, but I want to pick up a conversation that Erikka and I were just having about immigration, because you were at the press conference on Friday when the president talked about what Congress got done on immigration. What did Congress get done?
Nothing.
Okay, good. All right, good to talk to you, Bill. I'll talk to you later.
But here's what's stupid. They not only did nothing about the crisis, we're talking about House Republicans now, because the Senate was willing to pass a bill that would have given the president probably $2.7 billion. It's the House Republicans that, once again, are standing in the way of any progress on any issue whatsoever. But on immigration, they not only refuse to do anything about this humanitarian crisis of these kids at the border, they also passed a bill that would undo, and it's never going to go anywhere, but would reverse President Obama's Dreamers initiative, which is one of the most popular things that he has done as president, particularly in the Latino community.
Why would they do that?
They did it because they really, really don't care. And it's interesting, since the last time we talked, I was just reading a report that if you look at the Latino population in the House districts that they need to keep control of the House, it's actually pretty low, like 5, maybe 3%. So basically, they don't give a damn. The policy is not the issue. It's all politics, and politically they think they can continue to hold on to the House by just ignoring or doing bad things for Latino voters, what they don't realize, it's really going to come back and bite them in the ass in 2016.
Well, it's certainly...
Erikka, right? I mean,
oh, my God. Well, Bill, you brought up something that has not been talked about enough, and that's redistricting problems. What they've created are these districts that are not only just safe for them, but that don't have any skin in the game in these broader issues that the country has skin in the game on. So everybody across the country has an interest in immigration reform passing. That's why it's so popular. But they've carved out these little areas where, with only 2 or 3%, it doesn't matter for them electorally. And that's really one of the broader problems. It's not just that you can manipulate who controls Congress with redistricting, but it means that you can carve out districts where they don't need poor people, or they don't need people on food stamps, or they don't need immigrants, or they don't need some of these constituencies that have a smaller voice overall in our political system.
Absolutely right. And then, Peter and Erikka, the irony, the total irony, which President Obama pointed out on Friday, is when the House Republicans are unable to come together even on a crappy bill, then several Republicans said, well, I guess now the president is going to have to solve this problem on his own by executive order. And as the president said, wait a minute, 2 days ago they passed a resolution to sue me for signing executive orders, right? So,
and then, of course, you're right. I mean, you're exactly right. That's been the whole buildup. And they talk of impeachment or suing the president.
Right.
And then, like clockwork, Steve King from Iowa goes on Fox News Sunday and says, quote, I think Congress has to sit down and have a serious look at the rest of this Constitution, and that includes the I word that we don't want to say, end quote, when talking about executive action on immigration reform.
Which I can't think of an I word that they've enjoyed saying more. Than impeachment. I mean, it really seems to be. I mean, and if you go back, I think it was 2 months, or probably even less than that, when Michael Savage on his radio show right after the president was elected in 2000, actually was sworn in 2009, where he started saying impeachment.
Yeah.
So this isn't new. I know. Boehner likes to think that this was dreamed up by the White House for fundraising.
A scam, he calls it.
Scam. But this has been a part of their base, and has started to be. And as I was saying with Peter, that it's not just that it's been encouraged, but that the adults in the room have not swatted it back, have not tried to nip it in the bud, have not said, this isn't bribery, this isn't high crimes and misdemeanors, this isn't treason, this is an executive order.
No, we talked about that Friday on the show, that if Boehner really wants Democrats to stop raising money over the threat of impeachment, that he should tell his Republicans to stop talking about. And also Thursday, I guess it was, Peter, I was with this little round table with leader Nancy Pelosi, and she pointed out she got a lot of grief from Democrats when she was Speaker and George Bush was president, and she took impeachment off the table. She used those words. It is not, I'm taking it off the table. A lot of Democrats said, oh, Nancy, you should go after this guy. And she said, no, we're not going to do that. And what she told us Thursday, she has said to John Boehner, if you really want to stop this, you have to say those words. I am taking impeachment off the table. Boehner refuses to say those words. So he encourages the talk while he complains about it at the same time.
Well, I mean, it's called leadership, right? You have to,
or lack of.
Yes, exactly.
You have to take a stance at some point and kind of direct your masses. And sometimes it means saying things that aren't exactly popular, but are things that need to be said. I wonder how much of this has to do with kind of the disarray within the Republican House leadership.
Well, a lot of it, yeah.
With, and particularly Eric Cantor has now resigned, so they have a new whip, they have a new majority leader. This big shuffle over there means that the lines are being redrawn.
Right. Plus, we have to also just be honest with everybody that this lawsuit is really a baby step to impeachment. I mean, it's not instead of impeachment, it's the road to impeachment. So Boehner's not kidding anybody when he says, we're not going to impeach him, we're going to sue him instead.
I think there were some people that hoped that the lawsuit would be something to kind of placate, like a little bit of red meat tossed out, that would give him space to not move into impeachment. But Bill, I agree with you. I think it's the opposite. I think it's kind of dipping the toe in the pool, kind of testing the waters.
Yeah, he's fanning the flames.
All right, Bill, you're in Asheville, North Carolina. You are hanging out with our good friends at 880 The Revolution. Tell us why you're there.
Great gang here at 880 The Revolution, and a big day for Asheville because, first of all, there's been this incredibly powerful movement that started in Raleigh, North Carolina, the capital, started by Reverend William Barber, head of the NAACP of North Carolina. And it's the faith community gathering together to protest, particularly the very severe restrictions on voting rights that's passed by the North Carolina legislature. So they started what are called Moral Mondays. And at first it was just a couple of hundred people, and it grew to thousands and thousands. And now every Monday in front of the state legislature, there's these thousands of people there protesting these really, I wouldn't call them conservative, draconian actions that have been taken by the North Carolina legislature. And it's gotten national attention, by the way. Moral Monday movements have now started in several other states. Well, when the North Carolina legislature is in summer recess, as it is now, Moral Mondays moves to other cities in North Carolina, one by one, and today is their day in Asheville. Big rally this afternoon. It's going to be covered live on 880 The Revolution, and I'm going to be co-hosting with Jeff Messer, their afternoon host. That's why I'm here. We'll be broadcasting, guys, right from the stage. I mean, Brian Hall, a program director of 880 The Revolution, and I went to the site last night. We're going to be where the speakers are. Our booth is going to be right up there in front with them, and they're expecting 10,000 people today.
That's crazy.
That's great.
And this, it's people coming, on voting rights, on LGBT rights and women's rights, and all coming together around these issues. And it's just incredible.
It's amazing how North Carolina made so much progress in such a short period of time.
Oh yeah.
To get right on some of these issues, and then to see what's happening to some of that so quickly is so discouraging. That you're right. People are they're pissed and they're showing up.
They should be.
Yeah, they should be.
People aren't angry enough.
It was really starting to turn, if not blue, at least purplish blue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then this latest governor and the legislature have just taken it deep down again, and people are really pissed off, and so they're speaking out, which is really it's a huge grassroots movement, and it's so exciting to be part of it. By the way, everybody can listen to the broadcast this afternoon on iHeartRadio, 880 The Revolution, and we'll be broadcasting from 3:00 until the end of the rally.
I was going to say, yeah, if you can't listen on 880 The Revolution in Asheville, make sure you have the iHeartRadio app. You can stream the show. Like you said, you're going to be right there on stage. The Reverend Dr. William Barber, former guest of the show. They're going to have some musical acts, a lot of speakers. Looks like it's going to be a wild time. So I'm glad you're down there, Bill.
My goal is to shake hands with every one of those 10,000 people that are there.
You're going to have a sore hand by the end of the day.
Now, listen, we expect you back here tomorrow morning, okay?
Well, unless I get arrested.
Again.
Right.
All right, Bill.
All right.
Behave. We'll see you in the morning. Thanks for joining us. That's
right.
Bill Press, host of this show, The Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm hosting this hour with Erikka Knuti. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. So much more to talk about. Stay tuned.
This is The Bill Press Show.
So this is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Racing dot, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan. Thank you. And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show, 48 minutes past the hour. I am Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press, along with Democratic strategist Erikka Knuti. Erikka, thank you for being here.
Oh, it's been fun. This is great.
You should all go follow Erikka, by the way, on Twitter. It's Erikka with two Ks, right?
That's right.
Erikka with two Ks, and then last name Knuti. Erikka Knuti. Just like that. And I'm on Twitter at Peter Ogburn. Update, by the way, Elisa, because Elisa was giving me grief because I mentioned my Twitter handle. I'm at 1,999 followers.
Ooh, just one more. Who's the lucky 2,000?
You know, who's going to bear that? Who's going to bear that mark of shame?
It can't be me because I already follow you.
Yeah, right. Go follow Erikka. I mean, she actually has stuff to say. Don't follow me. I wouldn't follow me if I wasn't me, to be perfectly honest.
I have a friend that's a fashion blogger, and sometimes I'll go to fashion events with her, and then her friends will like follow me, and I'm like, oh, you guys are going to be very disappointed when you find out. You guys think I'm talking about like pants and like necklaces, and then I'm going to be like, let me tell you about that parliamentary procedure. Did you check that C-SPAN out?
Yeah.
I'd be sorely disappointed.
All right, so let's talk about the Senate because we've got, several big Senate races coming up. I want to start, first of all, about probably the most high-profile one, and that is Kentucky. Mitch McConnell, Allison Lundergan Grimes. How does that look in terms of unseating Mitch?
This is one of the most fascinating races that I've seen in a while, most exciting. First of all, Allison Lundergan Grimes, as a woman, she is a fantastic candidate. I'm excited to see young women running for higher office. She's currently the Secretary of State of Kentucky, and she's going for the Senate in a race that people would have said, you can't be done, and she's taking on this challenge. So to women everywhere, take on the challenge. Run. I know Emily's list's big number is that it takes a woman 3 times to be asked to run before she'll consider it. It doesn't.
Really?
No man's ever had to been asked. They're generally okay with running.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But that's really, I think, an important thing to note that right now, these top tier races, the Senate, the fate of America is going to be left up to women. We have these top women candidates on both sides of the party, so this is a good thing. So that said, she's been in a statistical dead heat since roughly the end of February, it's amazing. Mitch McConnell and she, there's probably hasn't been such a stark contrast in terms of the two candidates. They are not, Republican light, Democrat light, moderate, and they have strong positions. I would say that some Democrats are not happy with her position on coal and some clean energy, but you know what? It takes all kinds.
Sure.
She is running. She's not running away from being a pro-choice woman candidate. She is, stands strong on that in Kentucky. So good to hear that. But also in terms of Mitch McConnell, this is a 30-year incumbent, and I will say that from my observations in the Senate, having worked there as a staffer, there are few people who are more politically astute and strategically. He's a Mitch McConnell's no lightweight. I mean, this guy is an unbelievable politician. He plays four-dimensional chess all the time. And so this is not a race to be where he should be underestimated. However, don't underestimate the people of Kentucky because they are ripe for change. They have huge health problems. They have, some of the highest rates of cancer, heart disease, tons of people who are diabetics who are now getting health care for the first time. And Mitch McConnell wants to repeal Obamacare. So that's a huge, big issue.
He also, on the healthcare front, because, we have Congressman John Yarmouth in studio a lot, and he for a long time, talked about how great the enrollment setup is in Kentucky. And you have Mitch McConnell, who says we need to repeal Obamacare, but let's keep it here in Kentucky.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
That's not how that works.
Yeah, exactly. It's just...
That's not an option.
It's not an option.
Not an option. But it goes to show exactly how out of touch Mitch McConnell is with what his constituents need, and not a matter of what they want, but literally what they need to survive. Kentucky's life expectancy rates are low. So this is literally a matter of life and death to a lot of these constituents, and he wants to repeal and take away their access to health care. And I think that the success of healthcare reform in Kentucky is one of the things that people are responding to. And also, I think they're responding to this very vivacious, energetic, smart, intelligent woman who is out there all over the state. And, she's the future.
And you look at what happened to Eric Cantor, sadly. We hate to see him go. But...
yeah.
I think that this...
It's not the word I was going to use, but that's okay.
You have this sort of idea, like Eric Cantor was not a local politician. No one thought that Eric Cantor was serving his people in that area of Virginia, right? And so I think that Mitch McConnell is not a Kentucky politician. He's a national politician, and that might come back to haunt him. So we've got about a minute left. In that minute, how do you think that the whole Senate is going to break down when we get to the midterms?
I mean, I'm hoping the Democrats keep the Senate. However, it is really a 50-50 shot right now. The party that's in power, that has the White House, in kind of this lame duck midterm, this last midterm of the presidential term, historically loses seats. That's just the way it goes. However, right now we have a couple really good, strong incumbents that will buck any trend. I mean, a Mark Pryor in Arkansas and a Mary Landrieu in Louisiana are just they're kind of in political anomalies. They're not easy to knock off. So some of our Democrats are just not the kind of folks that you knock off. They're tough. They're a different breed. And then the other thing has been all of these kind of missteps by the Republicans, like shutting down the government, this immigration stuff that have allowed Democrats to fundraise. So I think Democrats are really keeping it in the toss-up for control of the Senate, and it's going to take everybody to go out and vote, support their candidates, volunteer, knock on doors, drive people to the polls if really they're going to be able to do it.
It's getting to be that time where we're going to be watching these things a lot more closely as we get closer. All right, one more quick break, and then we'll be right back with Erikka Knuti. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press. Stay tuned.
This is the Bill Press Show.
It is possible to read the history of this country as one long struggle to extend the liberties established in our Constitution to everyone in America. In other words, who, according to our laws and culture, gets to be considered a person? The law creates legal personhood, and movements create law and change culture. So, how have the courts passed laws to shape our culture? That history goes way back before Citizens United. 1819, Dartmouth College versus Woodward, Supreme Court case, turned a corporate charter from a government-granted charter to a contract. This ruling gave corporations standing within the Constitution. 1886, Santa Clara County versus Southern Pacific Railroad. Though the court did not rule on corporate personhood, the decision was subsequently cited as a precedent to hold that a private corporation is entitled to the same 14th Amendment rights of due process and equal protection as human beings. This makes it impossible for us to make laws that treat local businesses any differently than giant multinational corporations, even if their business practices are deemed to be harmful to workers, the environment and communities, or if they have a history of violating the law. Hale versus Henkel, 1906. The court granted corporations the Fourth Amendment search and seizure protection. Dodge versus Ford Motor Company, 1919. The Michigan Supreme Court says the business corporation is organized and carried on primarily for the profit of the stockholders. Stockholder primacy is established. The purpose of the corporation, according to the court, is no longer to serve the public good, as it had been. It is now to maximize profit for shareholders above all else. Pennsylvania Coal Company versus Mahon, 1922. Corporations get the Fifth Amendment takings clause, meaning if you pass a regulation that impacts a corporation's ability to make a profit, that is deemed a taking, and they can sue for the right to future profits lost. This creates a chilling effect, and local and state governments become much more hesitant to pass laws in the public interest for fear that corporations can claim loss of potential profits that cities and states will be on the hook to pay. Buckley versus Vallejo, 1976. The Supreme Court rules that spending money to influence elections is protected under the First Amendment, in effect saying that money is speech. Citizens United versus Federal Election Commission, 2010.
Today, the Supreme Court of Chief Justice John Roberts declared that because of the alchemy of its 19th century predecessors in deciding that corporations had all the rights of people, any restrictions on how these corporate beings spend their money on political advertising are unconstitutional.
The court's ruling threatens to undermine the integrity of elected institutions across the nation. It's a rejection of the common sense of the American people.
This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show, wrapping up on this Monday, August 4th. Again, I can't say it enough. Go download the iHeartRadio app so that you can listen to Bill. He is hosting an 880 The Revolution later on this afternoon for the Mountain Moral Monday rally. They're expecting 10,000 people in downtown Asheville, which downtown Asheville is not that big.
No.
Like
it's not like downtown Chicago.
Yeah, exactly. My name is Peter Ogburn. I've been filling in for Bill, along with Erikka Knuti. Thank you so much for coming in.
This was a lot of fun.
I can't believe this is your first time in.
I know.
You'll be back very soon.
Bring me back. I'll come back. I love it. This is great.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Remember, follow us at BP Show on Twitter. And again, Bill will be right here tomorrow morning. See you then.
This is the Bill Press Show.